All right, you guys talk. Wait.
Hello.
Hello?
All right. Yeah. Wait. Chat. Can you guys hear us? Oh, I'm not even typing in the fucking thing. Oh my god.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Okay, sweet. They can hear us. All right. Yep.
All right.
Welcome. Episode 7, Burn 1 podcast. Yeah. I mean, this week we have special guest Riaz, the two-time world champion. I guess we're just gonna. There's like really nothing to talk about, so we're probably gonna grill him a bunch before the show is over and let anyone answer or ask any questions they want. But yeah, I guess just everyone can introduce themselves, and then we'll get to Riaz. So as always, we're joined with these people.
Hello.
What's up, guys?
What up?
All right, and then we have Riaz, who unfortunately his webcam is not working, so he cannot join us on webcam. Do you want to say hi, Riaz?
What's up, people of the world?
All right, let's see here. Yeah, so I guess like the only real news is, I guess there's two things. So there's like one complaining and one unfortunate. The only thing lately has been they officially canceled all BCF, right? BSF. I mean?
BSF, yeah.
Yeah. Looks like the virus wins. Why Schwarz is now canceled.
I mean, we were expecting this, right? Like, there was no way
Were they going to have like
that
two
stuff was coming
tournaments?
back. Yeah. Like, it was going to be Anaheim and Vancouver, I think, were the only ones that had any chance of happening.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Texas, I think it was, right?
Mm.
Yeah, we were like late May or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like right on the cusp, I think.
Yeah, but still too early that no one wants to gamble it.
The big thing is they said that there's going to be some way for us to earn these promotional materials. So, like, the playmat.
Dude, it's going to be
and
a gotcha.
promo.
We don't actually.
Bushiro knows everybody loves gotcha, so it's going to be
Yeah.
Did they say that, or do they mean like the 2-1 counter? So here's what my fear is. I don't know if they meant like there's going to be some way to earn the playmat, or if they
Let me
meant
pull it
like
up again. They said promotional materials.
yeah, and I'm
All
thinking
encompassing.
Well, all of it's
Oh.
already been printed, right? So maybe they're just gonna save it, and the next time they have a regional, it's just gonna be like an Omega giveaway. You come in, you get like 10 playmats, 20 promos.
can you imagine if like the playmat that I wanted to earn
Just
turns
never
into a
comes out.
gotcha?
Oh, that shit would be so
Yeah.
good, Dean. You'll never get
You're
it.
just gonna have to buy it.
Yeah.
I would hate
Like
it
it's
so
gonna
much.
sell it.
I would hate that so much.
Okay, we would like to take this opportunity to reassure our players that various BSF 2020 PR items, including the Shop Challenge Exchange PR cards, will be made available to our players at a later date. That's the official line.
So you think they'll just recycle the material for next year?
Yeah, unfortunate, probably
Well,
truth.
Doesn't the thing have the logo of like Springfest 2020? You think they're going to change it to like
Yeah.
Springfest 2021 or something? I don't think that's
Does
gonna
it have 2020 on it?
I think
It
it
does.
does.
Did it not? Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does have something a hot stamped onto it.
Because like I think the Sakura playmat that I have has like, top 4
just
Springfest
says top 4.
2019 or
It
whatever.
definitely, the hot stamps definitely say 2020 because I had to put that on the Donkey Kong promo for the video.
Oh,
I'm not sure
video.
about the playmats.
What was that, Riaz?
I said I'm not sure about the playmats. I gotta go
I
find
don't
my
think
Sakura
the
playmat.
playmats have a date on them, but I could be wrong.
I thought they just had the year. Not, well,
Yeah,
who knows?
I'm pretty. All I remember, I think it just said like top 4 or whatever.
I think it just says top 4. Springfest or something.
I'll pull up the Springfest thing now. I think they still have.
Chris, please, no. Nobody deserves that. Come on now.
Regional Championship
You made it.
prizes. It does say 2020 smack dab in the middle of the mat.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay.
No. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna get this playmat, am I? This is some bullshit.
It is a really nice playmat. I think it's nicer than the one they had last year, which was also very good.
Yeah.
I really like
which
that
one?
playmat.
It's
The,
the time this year, right?
Persona one? The Persona one looked nice.
No, I don't
The
even mean
Persona
the
one
top
is
four.
2018.
You're talking about the Shioko one they gave out?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Shioko one they
Yeah,
just
that
gave
one was
out.
good. I like Shioko merch in general. I kind of wish they would do more of it.
Yeah, considering
Card
she's
game
the
Shioko.
mascot for the
Yeah.
game, do you think they would use it more often?
Card game Shioko for Ian. Anything
Please.
can come to Ian these days, dude. Doesn't matter.
It'd be nice to get Shioko in the end. Maybe then
Except
you could get the card.
Symphogear. Wait, no, Carmen, you're wrong. Majireko can never come.
Yeah,
to
Majireko can't come here.
Majireko's too overpowered of a set.
Yeah, dude, it's too broken. Can't let Madoka be playable.
Asking too much.
All right, let's see. Oh, did I mess this up? Dang. Okay. Well, the only other news is everyone's favorite series got announced in English.
Two sets got announced in English since we last talked.
Which two?
Memory
Memory
Snow.
Snow.
Oh, Memory Snow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting one actually. I don't know how. Do you think it's gonna be super impactful?
It's
Memory
pretty
Snow?
good.
Yeah, I think it's going to
Yeah.
be good.
I
You
might
have
have to
a,
pick it.
what? Non-interactive level 1 combo, non-interactive level 3 combo, and then you have, like, the level 1 package digs, like, 7 cards deep in case you're missing a piece. I think it's going to be really good. And then you have Anti-Burn, which I think it's outside of, like, LOL level 3 Log Horizon. It's the first time English had got Anti-Burn.
You also have the absurd anti-change counter
Yeah.
to poop on every other.
Dude, you can run
That already
12
exists.
anti-change counters.
Yeah, you could run.
You can
Oh,
run
there's a
12
PR too.
anti-change
Dude,
counters.
for the pure metagame, he's out 6 anti-change counters. There's no way he has a 7th.
Oh my goodness.
That would be the
I
best.
mean, the
meme.
big thing's the anti-ping, right? Anti-ping and anti-standby. Those are the
Yeah,
two big things.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest.
I think
ReZero kind of has a top end now because like before it didn't, right?
Yeah, the Rem is pretty disgusting as a top end, actually.
Yeah.
I think that like even not even thinking about what the set does or how good it is, right? The fact that it is a ReZero set that is sort of on its own, since a lot of people missed out on like maybe ReZero 1 where like the whole deck is and they want to play a ReZero deck, you're gonna see it a lot of tournaments because it's self-contained and people love ReZero. So people are just gonna play it. And it's non-interactive and the whole nine. So people are just gonna go for it and it's gonna be coincidentally good on top of that, as well as having anti-ping. So I think it'll make a big splash.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about the set was when the JP version came out, I feel like the anti-standby stuff in it didn't really do a lot for the JP meta, but I think English might be different because right at like before this, was it Fujimi's going to come out, which is mostly played as an 8 standby list, and if that picks up steam, and I forget, does JoJo use standby at all? I haven't.
It does. Some
Yeah,
builds.
Yeah.
Bar standby.
I don't think JoJo's gonna be meta though. Like
Well, I
the
think
more you look at that set, it feels like 2016.
kinda, but at the same time, I feel like like Carmen in his group said before, like it might not necessarily be super powerful, but a lot of people love JoJo, and so like every casual person,
Yeah,
is
they're just
show
gonna
up with
play it.
That's
So
like
you,
saying
you'll
that
run
about
into it.
Loki.
And, yeah, you'll run into it in bracket. Like you'll run into it in Swiss more than once, I think.
Yeah. I'm actually considering picking it up in English to have another like really good English deck lying around.
Wait.
Same.
Oh, for ReZero?
Memory Snow?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
remember?
because like
I'm getting it in English.
you're only the only tech cards you'd be missing is like I would say maybe Clean Cut, and I don't know if you even run the Ricky.
You don't need clean cut. You have a time machine.
Oh my god. It's funny. I bought the deck in JP, and then like a month later, right when it shipped, because all the EMS stuff from Tenso was delayed because of coronavirus, and then
You just demonetized us. Thanks, Carmen.
no.
I think they removed that. I think they removed that now.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard it pop up on a lot of channels. Damn it. But yeah, a month after it comes out and all that stuff gets delayed, the second it ships, the same day, announced for English. I was like, yep, 100%. Thankfully, I got it super cheap, so I'll just buy the playset and I'll be fine.
All right,
Just
Carmen.
have it twice.
Next time I want a set to come to English, I'm gonna have you buy it in JP first, and then just so I know I'm gonna
This
get
one
it.
was cheap. It's fine.
All right, have Carmen buy a +2 soul LB for me then.
Oh
Plus
God,
just a
no.
little buster.
I'll give you $5. Hold on, Riaz. I just came into some money from the government.
Oh God.
Oh man.
What do you think of Memory Snow, Riaz? You think it's going to be too impactful on the meta?
So my thoughts have only like I fought it several times, especially with like Attack on Titan,
Mm-hmm.
and what I've noticed about it is it really does, in my opinion, have trouble finishing from 3-0. Like if your opponent like cancels like twice, right? 2 vanilla swings, you're probably gonna live. So I do think though that it might like maybe like is there besides AOT, is there like really any good? I don't think there's any that many like burn 1 decks in English, right?
Well, it
You just
shuts
have
off
like
all burning, right? How many?
oh wait, is it all burning or is it just
Or is it
burn
burn
1?
one? I forget.
No, it's burn
It's
one.
burn
It's
one.
burn
Oh,
one.
okay, yeah. So just AOT, right? I think.
It's just AOT and I guess Futaba's burn, or is it Futaba? Is that the
Mhm.
bodyguard?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like it and also like the anti-standby part. I guess if a lot of people play standby, but like I think if it's not doing anything to hamper, like if no one's really playing burn 1, and let's say no one plays standby, I think that it's just a solid deck that is like pretty okay from what I've seen, right? Like I think it will impact it to a degree, but I don't think like can it really how well can it compete with the other whenever you're not preventing their finisher, how well can the deck actually survive? Right? Like how well can it can a player use it and get into top cut
Mm.
and attempt to win? And my answer to that is I don't think it's I think it depends too much on what it's fighting. Though at the end of the day, it's still a consistent deck, right? Easy level 1 combo, mills really easily, has a good anti-change counter. So that's why I treat it as like a solid set. It's very solid, but
Yeah.
I haven't had a reason to say that it's just going to stop the meta or like do anything in the meta because most of the meta does not burn 1. If anything, it might hurt the standby decks more. But what does it do again with the standby? Like it next power, right?
It minuses front row for 2,000 times the level or the cost of the card standby'd out.
Mm-hmm.
Per copy of the brainstorm. So
Right, they get 2,000 number.
I just want you to know from actual testing that brainstorm is probably not even run.
Okay. You run the other brainstorm?
You play other brainstorms because that minus power doesn't it very rarely is relevant. And the matchup that's relevant in, I'm not sure that you really care. And sometimes, like, even when you do it, they just side attack for a turn. I mean, they're already standby. They're already playing for a slow game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But they side attack for 1 turn, and then they just win board for the rest of the game, and your brainstorm doesn't matter. Because, like, what do? You just don't care anymore.
The other thing is, I think it's a tap 2 brainstorm, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's part of like what hurts it a little bit.
I think that in a vacuum, that deck might value because the Amelia's salvage, right? Self-res salvage.
No, it's search.
Search. Yeah.
Search.
The Rem
Okay.
is the salvage one.
The Rem is the salvage one. Okay. Because I know there's a self-res salvage in the set. They might value recurring Rem more. But we'll see how it pans out. The anti-ping's the more important part, I think, for English.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's running around out there, right? Because that's what keeps AOT from being big in like the JP meta, right? Is because all that random garbage is out there that people will randomly play.
Well, JP
I think
they don't value Mikasa as much.
They don't value Mikasa, but I don't think JP in general like as an like a set to like play a lot. I don't think a lot of people play AOT up there either, right?
Not particularly.
It's basically non-existent. It's just like the same people that been playing AOT just play OT, and then they still play a lot of times like the double level 1 combo or like 8 win trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think what part of the reason it's just not as prevalent is that English fights for board a lot more. I mean, not English, JP, because of all the standby decks and stuff that during the time it came out was just like really, really powerful.
Yeah, they've been always fascinated with winning board a lot.
Yeah.
We were at a time,
Yeah, at one point.
and now I think like at the end of 2019, we sort of kind of went back with it with Bunny Senpai, but there's no like spring to actually see what's going on. So
Yeah, unfortunately. I was really excited to see how things would develop with all these new sets, and we're just gonna be dumped into
Now
a
there's
meta
nothing.
of like, hey guys, you guys had like 8 new sets come out. I have fun trying to figure this all out at once.
It's even more unfortunate for like WGP season if that runs in fall because Saikano doesn't get hit. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's right. Because in
Yeah.
JP, normally we'd have a ban list sometime, but because there's no events happening, there's like no real data, and so they're not gonna have
Yeah.
any data to figure that stuff out. But I'm almost, well, yeah. Before this all happened, I was pretty positive Saikano was gonna get hit, but I don't know. With all the stuff they're starting to print too, like, is Saikano really gonna get hit?
Yeah, maybe not. Memory hate, dump memory.
Yeah, and then we got
KonoSuba event or something, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
we got some meme stuff like that, and then like AOT or not AOT, KonoSuba movie set coming out looks really good. Also, the
Oh,
new
should we actually speak
Seiko-
on that then?
Yeah, so I mean, like this last set that was announced in English, right? Was
Yeah.
KonoSuba movie set
Yeah.
was announced for English, so that's gonna be a very fun meta of a lot of KonoSuba again. I guess once it releases, because like
Yeah.
all the cards in it are so powerful. There's like cards in it that are just straight upgrades from like what's already available.
Yeah, they're really cool cards they're printing.
Are they
Mhm.
are they reprinting the 3/5 drop searcher? Or no, right? In that set or
No.
oh no, they didn't they, as a union or something?
Did they?
Mm.
I don't know. They reprint like everything. It's dumb. It's probably a 4K drop searcher now.
Yeah,
When
knowing
is
KS, why
When is
not?
When does that set drop in JP today or
The 24th, so in a week.
24th?
Next
Okay.
week, yeah.
English, probably winter at this rate, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be like towards the end of the year for sure. So
Yeah, November, December, I think.
And I was hoping that it'd be KonoSuba re-edit, man. I got rid of all my KonoSuba stuff, hoping that re-edit will come.
Well,
Speaking
there is a
of-
card. Yeah.
There is a card in the movie set that interacts with cards in re-edit and the Fuji or for the Kadokawa set that didn't get printed in any other set. And so there's like either they print that card in some other way, or they print re-edit, or this card just like legitimately does nothing.
I feel like the third option is the most Bushiroad option.
Yeah, that might happen
Yeah.
actually.
Or they do like they did Fairy Tail, make an English exclusive batch for the cards they don't print.
Oh yeah, that'd be kind of funny too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Didn't say
or-
version E.
Or they might just
I'm
release
so
the edit next
excited.
year and just troll
I'm so
everyone.
excited for version E.
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
So excited.
KonoSuba version E.
But
It's
yeah.
all the same cards except that one.
So, how are you guys feeling about this set being announced so early in English?
I don't want to.
Why?
Talk about it.
Why?
Yeah, it's once again, this comes back to why I'm upset that English doesn't have a ban list, because like KonoSuba is like already the most unfun experience to play against, right? And it does things that are, it just don't feel like they should be in the game.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, we talked about it before. It's just kind of like winning or losing with that deck never just feels like, oh, amazing, or you got out skilled or outplayed. It's just literally like, all right, time to do our coin flip to see who actually wins this game.
Yeah, they're very
Yeah,
it's like
remember
sometimes
that
you
match we had last week where you
Hey.
guys both died from like 2-3, 2-4?
it's
We
like-
we 100% outskilled Burn One. That was all skill. Absolutely no variance occurred.
It's one of those things that you know, like sometimes it's like, you know, maybe like player perception matters more than actually balancing your game. Because that is like a thing. And I feel like KonoSuba fails on that aspect as far as like design. But like so anyway, this deck is like been borderline like always. I feel like it's always been this deck, but like I feel like if you give it too many tools, which is what it feels like they're doing, you could probably walk out with something horribly busted. But then, you know, Japanese, like they eventually have like ban list and they keep stuff under control. You know, eventually like they ban like the alarm and Hinalogy because they decide that card shouldn't exist. If they do the same with KonoSuba, English is not going to have that happen. at least at the current rate that things are happening. And that's why I don't like having a set announced before it even comes out in Japan. Like Japan, they don't get any playtesting, right? They don't get to see how it impacts the meta, how broken this is. Instead, it's just, hey guys, we have your set right here. And
Well,
then if it's tier 0 in Japan and it turns out to be problematic, they're just like,
Well, I mean,
Isn't
well,
deal
that,
with it.
go ahead.
Yeah. Isn't Japan's whole thing that they just don't play this set for like no reason? And because it doesn't have any representation, they pushed this one. That's what it feels like. They pushed movie and like the KonoSuba cards that were in Sneaker because KonoSuba wasn't seeing any play. And it wasn't seeing rep. And there's like, this is a cash cow franchise for us. Why aren't people playing it in tournaments? So they keep pushing it, pushing it, pushing it.
I always felt like KonoSuba was a I mean, like, currently it was bullied at 1, right? Wasn't that the big problem?
Yeah, like, and once again, this came to a problem of like Boucher pushed standby so hard last year that it made decks that function off of their level 1 combo, and that's like the only way they can play the game, like, kind of fall apart a little bit. So like the deck was pretty representative.
It's not even that bad anymore. Well, it's
anymore
not
now, but like
ideal, but it has like a, what is it, on attack? They printed an on attack
On
power
attack
plus
plus
25.
2500,
Yeah.
yeah, which is really strong. Which made the deck come back a little bit more into popularity. But I mean, like, I think the deck was played at a decent amount, and then the meta shifted into this like weird super standby Albuda crap going on. So like games where it couldn't do this like disgusting stuff at level 1 made it so like the deck just didn't feel good at all. So I think people just got off of it for the most part. And then now, like, they were off of it long enough to like not be relevant for quite a while. Because like even when we played at locals in Japan, like almost no one was playing KonoSuba, even though
I
like
played against one.
yeah,
Did you?
One in a month, yeah.
I
One
played
in like
against
3.5
one as
weeks.
well.
Yeah. The most KonoSuba I saw was Kit's max deck.
Oh, that's true. I did play that against you once, but yeah, I don't know. It was just like a really weird time, and then like going off of, if they just go off of that data alone, I think like it makes it look like no one's playing KonoSuba, no one thinks it's a strong set, even though I think
giving Pirelli a crazy support, right?
yeah.
It's like suddenly you're like, oh no, we printed these really disgusting cards and now they're viable.
I don't know. I guess we'll just see what happens to KonoSuba, especially in JP, whether they go crazy or not. And then it seems kind of like they're pushing the game in a really weird way lately. Like a lot of card effects kind of seem like they're all fan of card effects.
Yeah, it's like reading card of the day is like reading someone's custom set.
Yeah,
Like-
I remember being like, does this card that attacks, like, if you have like an empty board and like 4 cards in memory and no hand or stock, sound fair if it attacks 8 times? And now they're like, this Gilgamesh burns 1 3 times for no cost.
And clock
And
kick.
it's like,
Wait,
you're
how
like,
does it clock
oh.
kick? Does it just
It
like-
does clock kick.
It
no,
says
it doesn't.
that-
There's no way it clock kicks also. I'm pretty sure it just sends
It
it
was-
to the waiting room.
It was something disgusting. It was like you play 2 of these
It might
Gilgamesh
just
and you win
kill
the
it.
game.
It just kills the card in front of it.
Yeah, just send it to waiting room.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts, Riaz, on like KonoSuba movie set and stuff? I mean, like, I know you don't
Well-
really play a lot into JP, but I feel like you at least kind of read the cards
Oh,
because
no,
you're in the groups.
I always keep up with it, but like
Yeah.
just from card of the day, right? Like as far as I see it, it doesn't actually. I don't think it changes much in terms of how broken it is, just because I guess we haven't seen the entire card pool.
Mhm.
But because I'm not really sure, like how this affects, how this will until I see the card pool, how this will affect the current KonoSuba deck we see currently.
Mhm.
So.
Well, I mean, you've seen the top end pieces they changed.
Right, that's a gate
Yeah.
combo, right? With the
It's a
early
gate
play
combo,
hand
yeah.
encore, and
I just-
then
What do you think of the 2-1 combo that early plays?
That's pretty meme.
It's
you
a
know what I
pretty-
think about it?
Pretty memey.
My move gear says no.
+4.
True.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Move Gear says no, yeah.
Wait, you haven't seen
Riaz,
this-
wait a minute. I thought you said you're off of AOT for the year. What happened to that, man?
Oh no, I'm off of it for now. But like let's say there was a Worlds, right? At Worlds I determine what I want to play by then. But I've been off of AOT for like since Worlds actually. Well, not that there's anything to play at, but
Yeah.
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 AOT no. What? Oh, KonoSuba, right? So the one thing though is that the new combo, the gate combo, I feel that now it actually hurts. Now AOTs actually hurt a little bit because now Hexproof can't protect them anymore.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
And that, like, if there's some way to make that combo consistent, and I mean, deck's already pretty good as it is, so I guess it might be too much, but I guess I would have to see how it operates against other decks too.
Yeah. I think like it's really kind of weird because like recently when all this happened, like I came to the realization about a lot of like effects that I didn't pay a lot of like attention to, like climax swapping or like climax searches and stuff. Like I'm starting to believe those like cards effects are like, I don't want to say they're broken, but they let you play some really crazy greedy lines sometimes and like change the way a deck can be super consistent on top of
Yeah.
like for KonoSuba they got like 5 different ways to get the climax to their hand, and I'm just like, why is this a thing? Like I don't know.
I think
They're really trying to push the set kit.
there you go. I guess
I
you're
mean, we
right.
talked about this last time. I feel like looking at the reveals that we have, thinking about the cards that they have access to, at least in JP, I think it might be a little rough if we don't get re-added in English for this to happen because of the stuff like the Union buff and the drop searcher.
I'm sure
But-
it'll get re-added just later.
Yeah, like I think it's pretty. I think that one card getting revealed for card of the day is a pretty good smell that they're going to release re-edit. Since the price of Konosuba, like set 1 especially, has like ballooned, and continues to balloon.
Yeah.
But-
I just don't think they will. There's not enough time to print product like that.
The big thing is we're gonna see this toolbox deck come out that just runs all the things, right?
Dude, Gara KonoSuba,
Like-
I can't wait.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I'm trying not to say that, but like we're gonna see a deck like that, right? And it's
Yeah.
gonna be disgusting because they have all these tools to play those weird lines and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm looking at these cards of the days. I'm gonna have to build a Resh Ishtar waifu deck. These cards are really pretty.
Oh, for Fako.
Yeah.
Because what I've noticed, right, Bang Dream's a good example, right? Like, the new Bang Dream set that's supposed to come out, apparently it's supposed to make Bang Dream really good, right?
Mhm.
But, well, so I've heard, right? But,
It's supposed to make it better.
like, I think when a set has a lot of options, but, like, probably not a way to fit them all in one consistently, that maybe, hopefully that's what happens to Konosuba, where there's no way to, like, make a 50-card deck that is just absolutely, like, broken, right?
Yeah,
That's what I'm
We
hoping.
can
I
only
can see
hope.
where you're coming from.
We can only hope.
Because right now Konosuba's top end doesn't really have its weakness besides its own weakness, right? Like, oh well, he happened to cancel because I removed 2 climaxes, but he still had 5 more or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
or like it doesn't have a weakness, but it and like how it, like AOT, you can't, nothing reverse, you can't do much, or like restanders and clock kicks and stuff like that.
It has 2 weaknesses:
What does Konosuba?
markers and memory.
Oh, sure. In terms of dealing damage, sure, but I meant like, I guess I'm looking at
Konosuba
from,
doesn't
like,
even have memory as a real weakness anymore, my dude.
I
Don't
know,
you-
that's what I'm
Oh.
saying. Like currently though, those are your only outs.
Yeah, so I did kind of notice that a little bit when playing Psychono. Like, it was a little bit hard to deal damage sometimes because of they were actually compressed and there wasn't much I can do with it because most of the cards are memory. But I guess, yeah, but is that really... I don't think that's... I guess that's a way to weaken it, but I don't think it's much of a weakness. But I guess so. But yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I don't really know how I feel about it. I mean,
yeah, I think we have to wait and see for it to really come out. Like,
Yeah.
all the cards look really, really good, but you don't really know if they're really good until you actually play it, right?
Yeah.
Or play against it.
We can theorize, but actually playing it may be a different thing.
What do you guys think the play for the top end's going to be? They released like what, 3 fairly good top ends now.
Well,
So you probably have Megumin, Aqua, and then
it's
Megumin and
definitely-
Union.
It's the Megumin Union for sure. Because I think before I wasn't too sold on it, but the more they released of like all the cards in the set,
Yeah.
just like having those 2 cards free up so many slots in your deck to put other tech cards in, just makes it disgusting. And then like literally every level 1 combo they revealed was good, and like all of them were on gate. Or if you can meme and play the 2 ones with the stock soul, and it's still going to be like decently good. Because like my assumption on the stock soul combo, as long as you get the reverse, is like you most likely +3, and I feel like a bad turn is you +2, like off of it, which is like
one
fine.
lane.
Yeah,
in one lane.
So like,
100% agreed with Kit. I think it's the new gate top end because of how it lets your deck expand and like adapt to pretty much any environment, even if it's a little steeper.
While not teching into Megamine, level 3.
which Megamine?
The one that has like actually really disgusting numbers on lethal.
Wait, which one? Do you mean the
one
secret
that, like-
union tech we talked about?
No, the one that mills your opponent's entire deck or something, and then like board wipes them.
Oh, that meme one. Oh wait, yeah.
Meme. That card's not even a meme. Did
Well,
you see
it's
the charts
meme
on
because
it?
of the text is hilarious, but it's actually the numbers on it were really good, right?
Yeah.
What was it a climax list or no? It was a gate climax.
It was
No,
on
it's a
play. You
climax.
salvage the climax, I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
on play.
You
Get
can
it
play
back.
it as a
Run
one of. I can't wait
Just
to
play
play
one.
it. Yeah.
And you just play another different gate with a climax swapper in your deck. Oh no!
Oh, that's a
And
gate
it
as well.
salvages it. Yeah.
Like there's like 10 different gates in the set. I don't know why. Well, I guess
Why would it?
Oh, why?
Why would it not be
obviously
just gate, dude?
the movie was about the Crimson Demons. Crimson Demons. So like, of course, everything's gonna be magic trade in red, and of course, they're all gonna.
It's on gate.
Okay, why not?
Well, I mean,
gate?
even Aqua got a really good cards.
Oh yeah, dude,
Because that
Aqua's
finisher's
finisher is
actually
so
fairly
cool.
decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that finisher is spooky. That is a super sweet. I
That's why I
misread
was
it
asking
first.
for your guys' opinions because that Aqua finisher is actually looking to be fairly
What is it?
decent. Also,
What is
it's
exactly?
on reverse. It's on reverse, right? It's like you
Yes.
mill if you
Oh, no,
don't mill.
is it on attack actually? Man, I tweeted.
I'm
about it,
scrolling.
I
I'm
forgot.
scrolling.
Okay,
But
but it's
I'll
like
find it.
the effect is like you mill 2 from bottom deck. If you don't hit a climax, you ping 1 twice. I believe the effect is.
Oh, okay, I
yeah.
remember that one. I remember that one.
Yeah.
And then they printed a lot
Yeah,
of
here it
effects
is.
for blue that can bottom deck cards when they reverse it.
It's on pants.
It's on attack,
On
right?
attack. On attack.
Yeah.
Pay 1.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So you don't even have to reverse then. So, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, so
I'm glad that they got all of these really good level 3 options. You can't just have like one mediocre one and one kind of like really push one. It's like you can have this really good one or this other really good one.
or this really good old one. Right?
Yeah, or this really good old one back there.
There's the Aqua, the new Union, and Megamine. The one that blows the entire board up. What's the other one?
That's it for like really good finishes, right? Was there a
No,
darkness merge, right? But like, did that
Yeah.
do anything? I forget.
I think it was Musashi. I forget that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was on a merge though, so it couldn't have been too awful.
Okay.
They picked such good art for this climax. This is the base art, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good art.
Dude, the SSP art for Union and Megumin is so good. Like, even if that card sucks, I'm gonna buy like a playset of both. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. And then also Ollie in chat just mentioned too that the level 3 that blows up the board, you need like multiple copies in level zone, I think it is, to get
Yeah.
burns,
Easy deck.
whatever.
All right.
Yeah, but either way, it's still pretty neat.
Gains cancel burn cross turn. Okay.
Cancel burn cross turn. Interesting.
So when this or the thing across.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. So you can cancel burn on your turn and cancel burn on the opponent's turn. Is that what it's saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
if you cancel their damage or
So
I
like if they
believe
cancel
so.
the damage you do, you can burn one, and then on their
Right.
turn, if they cancel, if you cancel their damage, then they burn one.
oh, so okay, that's
Yeah, it's
that's okay.
Imagine that against Rick
Interesting.
Sanders.
Oh.
No,
That'd be
no.
pretty
It has to be up to
Oh,
once
is
per
it-
turn, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
So-
it's
Yeah.
probably once per turn.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I'll just keep scrolling. Dude, the what is it? The Komako, the one that shuffles a bunch of cards back with the 2 soul. That's pretty meme. That's very funny.
Which one?
Oh yeah, we were actually
Yeah.
talking about
Oh,
that.
yeah, we were talking about
that's what I
that.
told you, the secret union tech, the two
Yeah.
two soul.
Oh,
Dean was
God.
like, Carmen, can you imagine? Your opponent's at 1 card in deck. You try field this. They now have 10 cards, and you slam the.
Yeah, we were talking about because like I mean like I play Million Live like on the side a bit-ish. It's probably my main deck at this point. But like the Shioha, like randomly just steals games. Like your opponent's just like, they have like 1 in like 5 or something, or like 1 in 4, and they just weren't able to get through their deck. But that's at level 3 when they have time to play around it. Like imagine that like you just got hit to 2 early.
Yeah.
And this is your combo because you know that you can just end games immediately.
Yeah, it's really weird because like the timing for it is really powerful because a lot of times people will set up good refreshes, like I leave 1 to 2 cards off of my deck so I can refresh with 8, and then you just like, well, I'm level 2 now. Well, 3 unions, slam the soul, and then now they're level 3 while you're like 2-0. It's just like when we had this discussion.
10 damage in a turn, and then you just win.
And then you look at your opponent and go, "Good luck." But I had this discussion.
That's pretty mean, but like you can't play for that in every game.
You can, but
I feel like you
might be able to actually, but either way, like I talked to Dean about this. Like I'm like, this never happens in a real game, and then I proceed to like the next day lose to that exact scenario multiple times, and I'm like, okay, Dean, maybe you do have a point here. Like,
and that was at level 3. That was when you have time to like think about it, but then you're just like, damn, I can't get that like extra 5 cards down that I need to, or like I can't get that like extra bit down, so I can't actually protect myself against this. But
see,
like
the counter is KonoSuba can free fresh, so it's fine.
Oh yeah.
They also put a ton of yellow support in. They put so much yellow support in this set. Yellow's like a real deck. I'm pilfering from what Ollie's saying in chat. Yellow's definitely a lot more real.
Yeah. But yeah. Anything else with KonoSuba, or are we gonna?
I wonder how playable. I wonder how playable the set is without any other set. Like you only have movie set.
I think it's super playable with just movie because, like we said earlier, they
got
reprinted
good
a lot of
cards.
effects, but just better. In like,
because
like Wiz is like magic trait and stuff. You might lose out on like having adventure trait, but like the set alone can probably build a very powerful deck by itself.
I was just saying, like, in the hope of re-edit, I could just pick it up and then pick up re-edit later if they were to make re-edit, but we'll see how that goes.
Just wait till they announce fucking Sakura Wars for English.
They're not going to do that.
Wait,
let's
they
be
do?
Why
honest.
not?
Why would they announce Sakura Wars for English? The set's not popular.
Things have made less sense, Nico.
when do we get to know our second English exclusive? When do we get to hear Japanese pro wrestling?
Please?
Oh man,
That'd be so dank,
my
dude.
God.
You stop getting my hopes up, dude.
That'd be so dank. I'd be like,
I'm gonna hit you with my Kenny Omega SSP, dude.
yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
I want an SSP of him playing the Bang Dream game from the commercial.
Hell yeah.
I want him rocking out.
Oh yeah, that commercial. The commercial's good. Anything else on KonoSuba before we, I guess, trail off from this?
Nah.
I fucking hate KonoSuba so much.
Dude, yeah, you guys are like the KonoSuba hate squad. It's pretty funny.
It's
And
not, well, it's
We
not
complain
like
about it every week.
Like,
I'm over here seeing
why
my
does
max
the
rated
set
KonoSuba
need to
deck.
have more support?
Nah, I don't hate it.
Oh man.
It's a
Riaz
lot about
didn't
it.
hate anything though.
It's
Yeah.
about it getting so much more
Yeah.
support.
I hate Adventure Time because the art triggers me. That's it.
Oh,
That's
Alright, I know how to
completely
counter pick
understandable.
Riaz now at Worlds this year. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna show up with Adventure
just
Time.
wait till Adventure Time's broken, dude.
Yeah.
Best deck in format, Adventure
They
Time.
don't want to show us the good cards yet. They're just showing us uncommon.
They already showed us a good card. The Lemon Man, the oversized. That card mills 4.
Right, it does mill 4. I thought it was 5 or something stupid like that.
It's 4.
No, it's 4,
It's 3
yeah.
and then 1.
That's 3 and then 1? Okay, yeah. Oh, man.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I guess anything else to talk about? Any news anyone else has on anything? I'm gonna... That silence says a no.
Free Majireko.
Majiro.
Give me Majireko in English.
That'd be really interesting if it came out in English. I don't even know if it'd be that good.
It's,
Is
it
there-
won't even be good.
Is there an anime set coming in JP or anything?
I think they announced
Yeah, they
it.
announced an anime set. It comes
Oh,
out in
okay.
summer, I think.
So that might be the only thing that we get if we get it or something.
Probably.
Well, it all
Yeah.
depends on copyright.
Would we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like
Well,
There's
there's
like
going to be a
some
second
things-
season of that. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
some of these old sets that like have support. I think you just let them die, right?
I mean, that's what I think, right? Like CG, TLR, like.
Like it'd be nice if it'd be nice if they came out. Like I would buy into Monogatari, but like, will your average player buy into Monogatari?
I think it's just the people that
In
held
English,
on to it.
probably.
Probably. I mean, like
People
Monogatari.
love
Monogatari with no
Monogatari.
ban list would be pretty memey, but like
Yeah.
I don't know if it might have been power creeped out by now. Like
It definitely
Probably
has.
is,
Yeah, I mean, you can't play the cat anymore. That card, you just
not enough power.
instantaneously.
Yeah.
You know, not enough power. It's just you instantaneously lose to stock swap.
Oh yeah.
You
Like-
lose to KonoSuba, yeah.
You lose to KonoSuba. You lose to Bang. Imagine losing to Bang Dream. Well, we don't have to imagine losing to Bang Dream because come Volume 2, we'll all be losing to Bang Dream.
I won't. I'll have Bang.
Really? You think? I don't think Bang
I'll
Dream's
be Bang Dream. I think
It's
the
gonna
new,
be strong, but I don't think it's gonna be that good.
dude, New World Order. It's like goodbye AOT. It's gonna be like KonoSuba Bang Dream. Like it's
Bang
gonna
Dream's
be.
already heavily played.
It's gonna be Bizarro World.
I don't think it's just gonna be that strong. It's gonna be a strong deck, but it's not gonna be oppressive.
Are we talking about the one that's supposed to come out in May or something?
Yeah.
Is that-
Yeah.
Volume 2 for Bang Dream. I mean, is everyone just kind of like in agreement that like this new set adds a lot to it, but does it make it broken? Or like
No.
I'm gonna go top with Mono Hello Happy World after this.
I mean, Taya
I don't-
Standby is really good. I think
Yeah.
that deck's gross.
See, I've never actually played played against it. I just know people that tested it, and they were saying like testing with how to ban list feels like the deck didn't have room to squeeze everything in, and it didn't seem like you can get enough. Sometimes you don't get enough hand for the finisher. If you're talking about the Kosumi finisher,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Cosmic Finisher.
because I think you ditch 2 in total or ditch 1. I can't really remember.
Two
So
in
you
total.
You ditch 2 in total.
You ditch 1 first, and you ditch 1 again later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because
But the thing
like,
is, you can hold. I believe you can hold off on ditching the other one.
yeah, until
right?
later.
Yeah, until
yeah,
later.
It's on attack.
So you don't. It's not like you have to discard your entire hand, and it's not fever. It's pseudo fever because the lane has to be cleared or the character has to be reverse, opposite of
Right.
that card.
Right, and
It's only a
like,
single lane. So like even if you move gear.
Yeah.
easy. Just play the 4500 Titan, punch it in the face.
Oh man. Like so JP got kind of off of it. Like I think the biggest weaknesses the deck had was the late game doesn't have the late game doesn't have a lot of healing, right? Is that it?
No.
So
Yeah.
Aqua, right?
Yeah, basically they had the back row support as like their healer for the deck.
Bang Dream.
Yeah, we're talking about Bang Dream, sorry.
The back row support sucks though. It's literally like power to popping party, an
What?
Azasan climax play, and a heal. Like
yeah.
card fucking sucks.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the pay 1 check top 4, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not even
Yeah.
like it's not even global to music trade. It's only
They had
global.
early play healers and stuff. People just weren't playing them.
Well, the early
Yeah.
play healer is off trait for that deck. That's the problem. Because the early play healer doesn't have pop and party trait.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool set design, Bushiro.
Yeah.
I love.
Even though it's a pop and party card, it just doesn't have the trait. So cool game.
Are they gonna do an errata for it like they did with
Original
You think
IMAX.
original IMAS, where they're like all of these cards also have this additional trait. It's just not on the card.
I wonder if that ever actually comes into play. I don't know. I think like the deck can do some like disgusting stuff, but it's to talk about something Riaz said earlier. Like he said, you have some friends or whatever that were testing it with no ban list, and it feels like there's not a lot of room to fit all the ban cards in it. Where I feel like the 2/1 free fresh counter wouldn't even be played in that deck if you play standby blue gate, because usually
Right.
free fresh counters work way better in decks that you trigger gates in, because it's never really a card you want to hold on to. It's more of like I double triggered gate this turn, so let me grab this. At least that's how I feel. So I feel like that's like the card that you wouldn't even be playing in it. So what was left on the ban list for it? It's like stock swap and Fumio, right?
Yeah, stock swap and
Fumio.
pseudo
Arisa
Fumio.
Fumio.
Yeah.
The balance Fumio. Only 1 climax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you can play that over instead of the pay 1 check top 4. But I think the issue is people are playing the pay 1 check top 4 level 3 because you didn't have enough hands sometimes.
Yeah.
The stock
as
wasn't
well
an
as
issue with
the
the deck,
heal.
it was hand.
Yeah, hand and
Oh yeah, I mean heals.
yeah, the deck has like no heals except for like that basically. I know Japan started playing like 8 pants like Orisa top end, which was like seems pretty spooky, but I haven't played it all at all, and I just only saw Carmen like explode playing the deck.
Yeah. I
Nico's
played
also
it a couple
exploding.
times and exploded. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the deck looks good on paper, but I feel like either I just need more practice with it, or just the deck fucking sucks.
Is it the fact that Toilet's a bad card?
Now
Is
that
it,
could be
is it the fact that you overvalue Toilet, so you put in this 4 of this unplayable card, and then like you have like this heavy top end? Because I think that's
Toilet was the problem.
The Bonder 2 toilet, is that what you're talking about, Dean?
No, I think like
Or just
the
Toilet in
problem in general is like when people shove 4 toilets in their deck, they have 4
I
of this
don't even think
unplayable
you play
event
4
1.
toilets. It's like you play 3 or maybe
I think I played 3 in my
2.
list.
I played 4. I think the interaction with the tie is too good.
I know it's a good interaction, but I'm just saying like when you're like sculpting your hand, right? And then you have like this toilet. Like you look at the toilet and the more you draw, like you're never incentivized to drop it. So I feel like often like
Do you think that card is like inherently like a turn too slow? In does that make sense? Like tempo wise, because you don't know what the card is, but it gives you a stock that turn. But then like it turns into another card later that you don't know what it's gonna be, and so
I think that's fine. I think the fact you get stock is powerful. It's just the it's more of like the hand sculpting and like how you prioritize your hand, right? Because like you're trying to sandbag level 1 combo, but then you're probably also trying to hold toilets to go with it, and then I feel like that can just lead to you not finding enough pieces.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm playing the deck wrong then, because I never, like in my mulligan and stuff, like I never really prioritized Toilet as like a card I keep.
Oh, I would hold it every time. It's so strong.
Okay.
This is why Dean.
This card sucks, by the way. I hold the entire fucking time.
Well, you're saying like on paper this deck is so good,
yeah.
But I'm telling you why like it crashes. It crashes because you're like holding this card that you can't play.
Well, maybe that's the fucking answer then. Maybe you run the card, but you don't hold it religiously.
No, you have to hold it religiously because your level 1 combo needs it, dude. But I'm saying, I'm saying, even if that's how you're supposed to play, the deck will implode at times because of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not at odds.
We're still kind of at odds.
Okay.
A little bit.
Dean's like, this card sucks, but you can never get rid of it ever.
Yeah, you just have to hold this card for level 1.
I mean, Orisa Wall isn't bad when it comes to Nexo Wall. She's probably the second best one. But I'm really down on Amelia. I hate on Amelia a lot.
What does she lose to?
I'd rather play the card capture Sakura one.
I don't think loses to anything.
I never even think about.
Yeah, I've lost that deck like 3 times already. I want to kill myself.
Yeah, Orisa loses to Hexproof. That's about it.
Cool. I mean, that's like all Nexal. It loses to like there's like the cards that just bounce stuff and then bring them back. There's like those are being printed some.
Oh yeah, like the flicker
really
from Fate though as well, right? Like that was
too. The blink stuff. Yeah.
The cool stuff is against Fate, you just like the rider can't kill your board.
Oh yeah, you're right. All right, I think that kind of sums up Bang Dream. Is there anything else in English you guys want to talk about at least?
How's Alice working for you, Riaz?
So I've actually I've fully tested this deck out, and I think it's a really solid deck, but I think there is lack of besides its main game plan, it doesn't do much outside of that. Like I think I was testing that Alice level 1 combo. I like dropped that after a while, and went to the Yu-Gi-Oh level 1.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've been doing is like Yu-Gi-Oh level 1 carry to level 3, and then you Tekken Sword Graham.
You Tekken Sword Graham?
Because I notice it depends on what your meta is. Because if your meta is full of decks like ReZero and Memory Snow and other decks with like power counters, the Alice can't protect you from that. But the Sword Graham prevents all counters, events, and backups. So I think that's a real legit way of playing, and I think that specific deck would be pretty decent. But I think after playing it, like I've been playing AOT so long, so after playing this deck, you start to see like any combo that's just strictly on reverse, right? Like on reverse do something feels really bad in the current English meta. Like, because people can crash their board or like their cards just disappear to like fling the stock,
Yeah.
and like it
Or
feels
coin
really
flip
bad,
now.
right? Because like things like cost me, if you leave it open, you're punished, and if you leave a card there that's weak, you're punished. But Kirito, it needs to actually kill it. So I do think not having a board is its weakness. So it's like matchup depending. Because if you're like fighting an early play deck, then that, or like a deck that tries to win board, then the deck's really strong because you're always gonna have something to reverse. You drop Sword Graham, and you get 2 free reverses. So I think the deck's really strong. I just don't think it's. I don't think
It's not like S tier or anything.
No, it's not S tier. I just don't think it's I can't even call it like on the same level as regular style because regular style, like I think Yuki's just too good.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Xenon will.
Well,
bail you
Yuki
out of
was a
some
mistake, I
situations.
think, because like I don't think they ever reprinted Yuki.
No, they haven't.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I remember reading Yuki. I was like, this card is just Star Splash, but infinitely better. I don't get it.
Yeah.
The fact that it's 2020, and that's probably one of the few pay one combos you ever see. That's how good it is.
Yeah.
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 For sure.
But yeah, the verdict of the story is I think if I were on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I rate it like 7 to 8 out of 10.
Mm.
If I rate
Man,
AOT
8 out of
10
10.
out
I
of 10,
think that's pretty high.
well,
It's pretty
because
high.
like I'm also based off of my experience fighting
Yeah.
multiple people with it. But it like I think in the English meta, it's pretty strong, but
Hmm.
that may change with like a million set releases, right? Like
Yeah.
Memory Snow stops one of its
I
burns.
can't, dude. I can't wait for Adventure Time to counter everything. It's gonna be really good.
Like you have like 8 standbys may like if you're losing board 24/7, I don't know how well the deck will propel into like level 3 when you have an open board at the end of your turn every turn into level 3.
Hmm.
But no, it's a good set. I think you can. I think in spring, if there was a spring, you could have taken and win with it. And I think maybe some of the beginning fall, depending on when sets are released, you can win with it. But I don't think it's broken or anything. It's a really strong set.
Would you say?
And I think
Oh, go ahead.
what's
Sorry.
up? I was gonna say like I think it also feels incomplete. But that's probably due to the fact that it's probably gonna be like a War of the Underworld set. Like it feels like it's missing a lot of utility,
Hmm.
and that's probably because the set's probably incomplete.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a complete set, and it is.
I mean,
really because
I almost think it's guaranteed that they're gonna print War of the Underworld just because Sao sells.
Yeah, there's no way. Every time there's more
where's
Sal,
my
it sells.
10th anniversary set, man?
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
we
dude.
were
We
about to
needed to
bring
print the
that up.
KonoSuba movie set.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The fact I thought that Sao 10th was too pushed for English, but now that KonoSuba movie set is out, bring on the Sao 10th. I'll buy it again. I bought it on release morning in Akiba, and I'll buy it in English. Like,
To touch up on what's it what's that event called, the Sword Gram or whatever?
Yeah, demonic
Yeah.
sword.
Yeah. Like,
Sword Gram.
what wasn't one of the issues with playing that was that you have to just like hard draw into it and hold on to it forever.
So get this, right?
Oh no.
So it's like
The dank tech.
it's a lot of different like factors. So you have the pay one, ditch a character, check top 4.
Mhm.
That can get into it. You run 4 copies of it. So more than likely you're gonna draw 1. The other thing is you run. I mean, this is like the RNG factor. Like you run books, so you can like draw into it. So I think there's 3 viable builds. I didn't finish that. There's 3 viable. There's one running Swordgram. There's one running the yellow. You run yellow. You run the bouncer, and you have answers. Early plays a lot easier. And then there's the 8 win deck. I think those are like your 3 viable decks for it, and it really depends on the meta. But it's just like with any event, right? Like anti-damage stuff like that. Like you just have to draw into it. So that's why you play 4 of it, and you just keep 1, and it's
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever not have it because also your early play or not early play, your level 3 is draw 2, drop 1, so it's like really hard not to see that card.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I forgot the.
What do you fix for red?
So
what do you use to
for-
fix for red? Yeah.
So just the Sword Gram,
5
and then
games.
no, and the 2/1 administrator that kills early plays, so I can combat early plays easily.
Okay.
It's like a 16-5 with a climax or 17-5 or some ridiculous number.
Yeah, I know it gets super massive.
And
Yeah,
those are my
makes
2
sense.
like red fixes. I'm about to probably like I was supposed to make a video on Sword Atlas. I have to do it like within this next couple of weeks, but not having a Spring Circuit kind of like demotivated me in terms of making videos.
I think it hit all of us, man.
Yeah, like I haven't been doing.
Don't-
I have like stuff to make, and I've been like, man, does anyone even play Weiss anymore?
Yeah, I was discussing this before. Do we want to talk about that at all?
About what?
That's a pretty negative thought, though, right?
Oh, about the player base thing.
Oh, about the player base, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can if you want before we start going in on Riaz.
Oh no!
What do you think happens at the end of this? Right, like let's say at the end of Springfest, restrictions get lifted.
It's
And
not going to
now-
get lifted at the end of Springfest, my dude.
I know, but I'm saying like the hypothetical. Whenever this ends,
Hmm.
and everything gets lifted, how many people do you see coming to the first line of tournaments, and how many like? I think tournaments will be just as actually. I think they'll be harder to top. 'Cause I think the only people who have left are the extremely like dedicated for a
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
think that's fairly accurate.
I think you're going to see like 40-man tournaments that are going to be like hard as hell to top.
Or just like every person in the tournament is someone you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, God damn it. I have to play I have to play against 40 people with a brain.
No Batman
Hard.
Ninja player that's like, I'm new to this game and I've never played, and then
Uh,
I field you turn one going first.
Not to disparage that player, you're very important. But yeah, I agree. I think that the first round is going to be the first season of post quarantine tournaments is going to be very small and very competitive. Because obviously we're still going, right? Like we're all gonna
Yeah.
go to the first
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
event. We'll bring 2 cars, you know, like whatever.
Social distance within the car, dude.
Yeah, I got to get a limo, got to get a bus.
Hell yeah.
Everybody 2 seats.
Just get a
apart.
minivan, dude.
Minivan's not big enough for all of Pittsburgh's players, man.
It's also going to be crazy because you're going to have like no idea like what the meta is anymore, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like-
it's just like
It's going to be
You're
pretty
fine.
wild.
So many sets are going to come out, and I don't think. Well, there's some people that have dedicated themselves to TTS, but I feel like most people.
I don't even think that's a real thing anymore, dude. Like,
Oh,
the TTS thing was really big like the first week or two, and then it died down. I think we were talking about this earlier, too.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
everybody
I
burned
think-
themselves out.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think people just overplayed, and it's also it was the same people. I didn't see like any new people from the Weiss Discord come in.
They moved on to Teamfight Tactics, dude. It's a better game than Weiss.
I don't know what that is.
Tabletop Simulator is the most cursed fucking program.
It is.
I've experienced some of the most completely ridiculous deck state situations, and I have my tinfoil hat theories about what goes on in the shuffle algorithm. But it is TTS is just like it does. You know, yeah, Fate's right in the chat. It does kind of suck. Like at the end of the day, it is nice to be able to play Weiss online, but like it kind of sucks. It's a pain. Even the new scripted way to import decks is a pain. Like everything about it's a pain. And then you start playing, and it's just like, oh, I'm just having a bad game. I just hate life. I don't want to play Weiss. Like it's like an endless bad
The game's
feedback
always been,
loop.
though.
Yeah.
Bad
Game's
feedback
always
loop.
Yeah, it made me miss Skype/Discord Weiss.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
trying to bring it back. I'm bringing it back. We'll
Bring it
go
back.
down to card
Remember
games,
physical card
webcam
games?
games. You guys remember real cards?
I think though TTS it's a good tool to help people like. So the one advantage of it is that you can now play decks that you don't own, and you can test theories out. So that's the one strength of it. I think they'll continue to move on. Like people might do it in the private, like not like in the Discord, right? They might do it in a private call or something, and like that way they can test decks out or test things that are too expensive, right? Like some people may never ever get to play KonoSuba, and I can just build KonoSuba on TTS or build LB2 Soul and test it out and stuff like that, you know. So
What I really like to see going off that is that during the Bunny Girl reveal things, I think it was
Yeah.
literally every day people
Yeah.
were testing new reveal cards. And like I did it too. I tested the Charlotte cards. Like when I saw the new Charlotte stuff drop, I brewed up some Charlotte stuff, and Nico and I were playing that. And that's a lot of fun. That's a good use for TTS.
Yeah.
yeah, That's one advantage of it. But no, like I think in terms of like practicing and stuff, I miss the real cards and real shuffling and stuff like that because I think like I know like maybe like we can randomize a little bit better than TTS, but
Oh, I think it's the opposite. I think that because humans pile and humans are imperfect, we get more normal distributions than TTS, which is a fully random computer that knows no mercy.
yeah, actually that probably makes more sense. Like I mean I don't know because I like the few times I played TTS I played like Sao and I guess Yuki just fixed my hand anyway, so like I guess I didn't really care. But I was watching games. It was like the funniest things I saw. Right? Like,
Yeah, you get like
Yeah.
the most ridiculous situations happen in Tabletop Simulator.
like I would see a guy running like 12 level ones, and he would just field like level zeros and swing. It's like, wait, there's not even a single level one you have, or like double brainstorm and whiff when there's 7 in deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, just crazy stuff happens in TTS. It's where Weiss goes to die, I think. But it is a metaphorically, it is a useful tool.
Yeah, like you guys basically said, I did like playing with the revealed cards and figuring things out. So you don't like not having to commit the cash to play the cards is always really good. And I was one of those people that's like, I'm never gonna print proxies. Screw it, I'll just buy the cards, and then if I hate them, I'll get rid of them later. But yeah, I think yeah, let me just move on to that. I guess this lasts how long have we been streaming? I haven't even checked. I guess like yeah, this lasts like 45 minutes or so. You guys want to go in on Riaz? Didn't you say, Carmen, you wanted to talk to him about the grind?
Oh yeah, dude. Like I don't know. We talked pretty briefly on Facebook, but like I don't know, coming up I haven't been playing Weiss as long as like everybody else, but like I really grinded the shit out of the game, and I know that you're also pretty notorious for that too. So I just wanted your thoughts on that. Like I feel like a lot of people don't grind the game as hard because it's like a card game and they feel like they don't need to, but like just grind the hell out of it.
So, well, okay, question's pretty broad. So like,
Yeah, it is pretty broad.
so what I noticed, right? Like it's changed a little bit since like I guess 2014, but what I've noticed is that I feel like a lot of players do not practice enough. Like I think especially Weiss, I think if you want to be like you're grinding Weiss, it's the same thing as if you're playing like competitive Dota, competitive stuff. Like you want to be putting in 30 to 40 hours a week if you had the time like to truly grind the game, right?
100%, yeah.
And I don't think a lot of players treat it like those games because when it comes to card games, people are like, well, there's RNG. You can always get screwed by RNG. But at the same time, if you keep grinding, you open yourselves to seeing multiple game states, multiple situations. And more times than none, that grind would have been useful when you need it in tournaments versus not being able to know what to do because you didn't grind a lot. But I think the main thing is I don't think, especially like I've seen it like reading posts online, like a lot of people think Weiss is a joke. And I don't think a lot of people take it as serious as like they would take Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic, I guess is a better example.
Yeah. I mean, we've had like this discussion before. It's just like some of the
Yeah.
mechanics of the game make people feel like they got cheated out of the game, when in reality, a lot of times it comes down to your play. Like, of course, there's these games that you're never gonna win because RNG was never on your side to begin with. But like,
Right.
yeah.
But I think also people don't truly know what a true sack is, right? Like some people might say they go straight from 1 to 2 and they think that's a sack, or they go straight from 0-1 to like 1-4 and they think it's a sack. But
That's
like
definitely not a sack most of the time.
Yeah.
Like a sack to me is something that's just 100% unrecoverable. Like we're talking about you just started the game, you ditched 5, you drew 5, and you skip your next 2 turns.
Yeah, have you ever seen this?
Hey,
one
that
game
happened to
where-
me yesterday.
No,
Kids
don't
my
have that
favorite,
game before.
my favorite term of being sacked was this one time I played it against this guy. I don't know if you guys know him. His name's Riaz in New Jersey.
I remember that.
That was my favorite
remember
game of all
that.
time. Like, I'm playing Sunshine. In turn 2, it was like turn 3. I had 1 attack, and I'm level 2 with 1 stock. And I'm like, I can't play the game, guys. I don't know what's going on. And Riaz is sitting there at like 0-2, and I'm like, I think I've lost. that was a fun game. But yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's a good example, right? Like not being able, you're just sitting there for like turns on end, not even doing, can't even attack. Like you spent 2 turns not even attacking.
yeah.
Um,
But to touch up on that too, like I think that's something like Dina and I think Nico also talked about this too. When it came to testing, like we don't test for the games where everything goes right. It's the games where like literally everything blows up in your face. You need to see how you play out of it, or if your deck can handle these situations and actually be able to play out of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a.
You said Chandler had a good way of practicing, right?
No. I think it was Hunter. Hunter has
Okay.
like the funniest way. He like sometimes will take a deck and just clock his level 1 combo, and like hold climaxes in hand and just see how terrible he can make the game go, to see like if he can like force
Play out
himself
of it,
into like
yeah.
some terrible situation. I don't know if that's the way you should be testing.
well, on
But-
that note, right? I used to do something similar. I would tell my opponent, "Give me the worst possible hand you think I could have." They take those 5 cards, give it to me. I shuffle. They shuffle the rest or whatever, and I start the game like that. And I played several games like going like that to see like what is the absolute worst.
That's
I
pretty
like
good.
I did that like way back though, like talking about like years ago.
Well, when you're
Suck
talking
on
about the grinding though,
But
do you think that like after a certain point, like you have the foundation to not have to grind as much anymore?
you know, funny enough, I think how it works, I think you may not have to grind as much as you did before, but I don't think you really lose like let's say you reach like let's pretend this is like an MMO, right? You reach skill level 100, right? And that's the max level, right? I think like if you don't play it or grind enough, I think you're still like somewhere within that ballpark and you just need to spend a little bit of time to polish yourself up. But I don't think you like I think it is true that you may in certain situations you may have to grind a little bit less. Like I mean you could get away with grinding a little bit less, but I think that's also determined on like let's say like all the other people start grinding hardcore, then they might leave you behind in the dust, right? So I think me personally, I always like keep up the grind. So I don't know like I think now like obviously I mean it's like the whole like quarantine thing actually like this is the less I've ever played Weiss.
Yeah, agreed.
Hmm.
But like the last like what since 2017 I still kept up the grind like going all the way through the years. So I think if your goal is to always be the best, I think keeping up the grind is important. But I think like let's say your goal was just to like win once or something. I think like you don't have to keep the grind. You can still be like realistically good enough to play. But I think it's important like if you're always trying to aim for the best to keep up the grind. I mean, I think like you're the best way to put it is you're always the student, right? You're always learning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
kind of have
agreed to that too.
I kind of have like the same mindset. Like, I guess to touch up on it a little bit more, like you're saying, like, say the max level is like 100 on skill cap or whatever. Like, eventually at one point, you're gonna get to the point where your minimum skill cap is like at 90, and then the actual like extra 8 hours you put in grinding the deck gives you the last 10 that you need to like max out like your ability to play the deck and ability to like read the board, read the situations, read your opponent, stuff like that is like probably the best way to put it. At least that's how I see it. But usually, like any deck, or I think at this point, all of us are at the level where like if we're handed a deck, read the cards really quickly, we'll be playing it like correctly 90% of the time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's those
Yeah.
fringe situations that a lot of the times that you won't understand.
Right. That's it, right? And that's where the grind helps. Is those
Yeah.
weird situations. Like, you know, you'll just by playing so much you'll experience multiple game states, allowing you to get out of a lot of situations that would look unplayable.
Yeah.
It's about like perfecting it. It's about like perfecting what you intend to bring, right?
How
Like before an
often
event.
do I deck edit? To answer your question, Platinum Point, I generally only deck edit if I need to change something for the meta, like or something feels off, right? Like as you're playing, I think like It's a terrible way of putting it, but as you keep playing, you tend to see what cards are less valuable and what cards have no impact in deck, and you end up taking them out for cards you feel are valuable in certain situations that you're going to be in a lot of times. So I think that I don't really edit my deck as much. Like it may be like every season, I should say, like between spring and fall, it will just change if the meta changes. Sort of kind of thing. Because I like if it works, it works. Like kind of like how like I quote unquote edited my deck. I took out Aaron early plays and put Sasha early plays for Worlds. Right? Like if you consider that a deck edit, I guess, then that would be like my level of deck editing a lot of times. If the deck is like figured out, right? If the deck's not figured out, like when I was playing Sao Alice, I was like one deck looked completely different the next day. Because you're still trying to figure it out.
Sort of springboarding off this about deck editing and stuff, and like also tying it in with like always continue grinding. I think a big thing with card games is it's not something like a fighting game or something like a sport where you have to be like physically doing the thing a lot of the time. Dedicating a lot of mental cycles to like deck building and theory crafting and stuff like that is super, super valuable, and you can do that all the time. So obviously you play as much as you can, right? You get out to your LGS, you play online, you do whatever you have to play as many games as you can. But like you can also just keep dedicating mental resources to the game, and that helps a lot. Whether it's deck editing, brewing, stuff like that.
Because I do believe, like, I think this is like it wasn't an article I read like a long time ago. I forgot where it was, but it I feel like if you work really hard in the game, like eventually you'll be rewarded. I don't think like, oh, I worked so hard and I think like eventually something will come to like something will come out of it. I think. I truly believe so. But yeah. So I mean like any more like things on grinding? Like I'm not sure if I answered your question or
No, that was awesome. Like, yeah, I think we think really similarly on it. Because, like, I don't know, that's the mentality I had coming in, and it worked. It definitely worked for me, and I preach it to everyone else. So it was cool to see it reinforced.
That mentality, for the most part, over like all top players is usually the same, unless you're some kind of like sack god that just walks in and everyone dies.
thank you. I'm bound.
Oh, fucking Riaz.
I'm joking.
Oh man. I guess to touch upon one thing Riaz said right there at the end too, though, is like if you dedicate the time and stuff to learn the game or learn to get better, then it pays off in the end. I've said this before, but like just playing the game isn't learning the game. You have to when you play the game, actually actively think about the game. If that makes sense.
It's more of reflecting on the past game.
Yeah, reflection's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, like always, like every winner or loss, like at regionals, we always talk about the games, at what points we thought we were winning, losing, and so forth. Right?
Yeah, it's always better. I think that's why I don't like the words "the grind," because to me, it's not the grind. It's like playing a couple games and then thinking hard about those.
I mean, like
so it's more like Carmen said. It's dedicating mental cycles.
Yeah, like Riaz said,
in that way, that is grinding. Right? Yeah.
Right, you're always learning, but like I think the better analogy or the analogy to put it is like when people hear grind, you running into a wall 24 times isn't a true grind compared to the guy that's climbing the wall every other time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is different. I think people may, like you said, might equate like, oh, I played 30 games, but those 30 games weren't like
they weren't quality.
You didn't reflect on them, or like we're not talking about whether you win or lost. I think that's also another issue. But like whether you win or lose, we're talking about like you reflected on what you could do better every time, and you build your pyramid of knowledge, and that pyramid will help you as you progress through like regionals, tournaments, stuff like that. And I think people don't actually a lot of players don't actually build that pyramid.
Yeah. I think to compare it to something, I hate comparing it to Hearthstone and giving Blizzard credit here, but I think there's a good comparison to be made to Hearthstone.
Where I came from.
Mainly because like there's so much RNG involved in the game. A lot of the times you're not trying to obviously you're trying to play towards a win, but you're trying to play more towards like which move is the more winning play, if that makes sense.
That's a big thing I brought into Weiss. It's like, what's the best play right now? What's the winning play right now? Like, where am I hedging at? You know, because that's how you play Hearthstone at a high level, right? Like, you have to think. It's like, oh, it's just like if this happens or this happens, that's a really bad play, and like that's a loss. But like if this thing goes wrong, I might be a little bit behind, but it's still a better play, right? Like overall, things like that.
It comes back to like learning how to risk management, I guess, is the best thing. Like,
Yeah,
how much am
risk
I willing
management.
to like gamble here, and if this gamble pays off, how far ahead or how far behind will I be? You know.
There's also like things like playing into a situation that may happen, like betting it on like that. Like there is like these X number of ways you win, and you have to choose out of those X like one and like take that path. But like I think playing in, I think a lot of times some players give up a little too soon. And I think
100%, yeah.
playing into a, I mean, shout out to Discord Patty Wagon for this like phrase for the longest, but like playing into the world that like wins, right? I think like that's something like you never give up. You always play for the next turn unless it really is not the next turn. Like you know for a fact that there's no way you can like survive. But
this comes back to like just playing to your outs. Like example, like there was a win it in top 8 at Toronto I played at, and my only out was because we were at time. My only out was literally to push 12 damage in my opponent and then me trigger on each attack. That was the only way I could win. Like I sat there, thought about a lot. I was like, this is the only I lost. Don't worry.
It's King. You won. Don't worry.
But I mean, like thinking about the scenarios instead of just being like, whatever, I lost this game. Scoop. I'm leaving. You know, is like sometimes what makes or breaks it, right?
I think in competitive, like if you're really playing competitively, that's probably a really bad mentality to have.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm saying it's a bad mentality to have to like just say, all right, fuck it, I'm done.
Give up.
I'm leaving.
I thought you meant like,
or like I don't care anymore. Yeah.
I mean, I think not to do this, but I think like at least one moment that I had that was really good was in that waifu tournament, in that finals match.
Mm-hmm.
That game was going
extraordinarily poorly.
But like I'm like, okay, well I just have to early play red and not do anything. And then like a couple turns later, I'm like, my only out to this board is to side attack for 0 so I can maintain his deck state. So I can clock kick the climax in his 3-card deck. And then like it's like you always, I mean, not every deck, right? Because some decks are more linear and don't have like as much like manipulation as that. But like there are always lines.
Yeah.
Of play, and I feel like as long as at the end of the game, winner like usually on a loss, it's usually on a loss, but like at the end of the game, you can like look and find a line of play that you made that was incorrect, and that wasn't a wasted game.
Yeah.
Which is very sad because there's sometimes that there are wasted games. There are actually a lot of wasted games in Weiss.
Yeah, there are.
Where like I don't know, sometimes it's just like nothing is going right, but
yeah. Or sometimes it's just like even when you make a bad line or just like not the right play, it just worked out for you. So like you don't really end up thinking about it too much.
That's why I say it's usually more on losses than wins. Like wins are really hard to reflect on because like if you did something wrong, it's like you have that confirmation bias that like it was right.
See, I think that's also another thing is that I think being able to you get better faster by looking at your wins and losses. I think you're right. I don't think a lot of people look at the wins. They're like, "Oh, I won. That's all that needs to be," and they move on with life.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's been a lot of times where I talked with Nico or Dean, like I won the game, but I was like afterwards I was like I actually made the wrong play because I picked the play that was actually like 2% more unlikely for me to win the game, or like dumb stuff like that. Whereas like this other line of play was actually had a higher chance of me to win the game, like, you know, out of every 100 games or so.
How do you know when you made a bad line of play? I think that's a really tough question to answer a lot of the times. It's just like, I know for me, a lot of times it comes down to feel for those like really marginal situations. But a lot of the times you should be able to think about like some of the plays you made and then you can reflect back on it and be like, probably should have done this instead. It would have like, you know, put my deck into a better deck state or something along those lines.
Yeah, usually on like a loss, it's like a lot easier to pinpoint in a loss.
Yeah.
Like, okay, one game, I'll remember this game forever because I literally was like helping a local player, a friend actually, play a gate at the same time. I played, oh god, this was 2 years ago now. I played into UA Ping at Toronto, and it was like the final round, was like round 7. And I was playing 8-gate Persona, and I whiffed every brainstorm and was out like 8 climaxes turn 2. Had to ditch my entire hand early to get to a good deck state. And I was like playing on no hand. At one point though, and I know like right, this game sounds unwinnable the entire time, but I'm actually like ahead in damage because he hasn't managed to find wind. And I'm being rewarded for like all of the like because I rushed to my second deck, I'm like getting a little-ish lucky on cancels. But I'm still not hitting brainstorms. I don't have a hand. And there was a point where I had the option to tap 2 brainstorm, hit 2 on the brainstorm because I had a 4-card deck with 2 climaxes. Or I had the option to shove up my back row, attack 3 times. If I trigger 2 climaxes, then pay 3 encore. The correct line of play is actually to shove up the back row and take the gates rather than brainstorm and like screw up my refresh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take that play. So sometimes it's like it's like a lot easier like on a loss to be able to like point to like a moment where you lost. On a win, like Nico said, it's probably just feel. Like you have to like really think about like the game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I guess you have to think harder, but what I've like, I don't know, like,
Well, like, okay, for me, like, a lot of the times I just go back to the math and like go, did this?
It's usually sequencing that it boils down to on
yeah.
wins. I'm like, did I sequence this correctly? But like the real other like kind of like fringe line of plays, a lot of the times you don't really come to think of them on during wins. At least not for me.
It's a lot harder during a win to
Yeah.
point back to something that wasn't optimal. It's really hard to point back during a win. During a loss, I know it's just like there's even if you think you just got completely sacked or something like that, you got to point back to something.
You can search.
You got to
really
sit
hard.
there, search back to something. Always look back to a play because not only is it good for your improvement, it will also keep you sane. Weiss is one of the hardest games to like play game after game after game after game. It can be one of the most discouraging like things that you can do. And like thankfully for me, before I figured out like, you know, in my first couple months of like how to think about losses, conceptualize how the game worked coming from different games and stuff like that. Thankfully I had a really awesome community that was always really uplifting and like not like super shitty and stuff like that. But people who don't have that, it can be really hard to get past that initial like push of just like you got to keep playing, you got to point to your losses, and you got to not like get super mad about yourself. You got to know what's variance and what's not variance. You got to that's the key to identifying what your good and bad plays are, is realizing what is variance and what is not.
right, like identifying through the match what are elements that you could have controlled or at least put you in a better situation.
Yes.
Like one of the biggest issues I think though is like doing this, like telling a player doing this, they also can't fall into the trap of looking into hindsight. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest traps.
Yeah.
Hindsight is like the most worthless thing in Weiss.
Yeah,
It's
like
like-
Dean said earlier too, confirmation bias is like same shit. Like,
Yep.
yeah, it's really hard not to do it sometimes. I think we meme about it sometimes too, but like,
That's why I think people need to go back to older sets. I think people need like
That
Somebody
Like-
needs to give you like a deck from like 2015 to 2016 with like limited plussing options.
or
Maybe even like go ahead, Dean.
I was just gonna say I think like non-ironically I think stuff without brainstorms like is almost what you need to go to, because too often you'll do like bad lines of play and then a brainstorm will just like randomly reward you and then like you won't think about it anymore.
well, I mean, I think when we talked about this last time too, we were just saying kind of like these old sets force you to min max your what's the word I'm looking for?
every single play.
Yeah,
Like,
you
You're
gotta-
fundamental, basically.
Yeah, you gotta
It's like
min max
playing
the,
Pro, I
the
suppose.
value is the word I was looking for. Value of every
Yeah.
card you play. So like if you're not min maxing it, you're not gonna be consistently winning. You're just gonna play the RNG game then at that point.
I can still look back. It's like my first real competitive deck is like Kasumi, Yukina, Bang Dream, where it's like puke, brainstorm, garbage all the
Yeah.
time. My second deck was like Nisekoi, like Gate Bar, like Nisekoi. And like even that's not that old, right? Like, and you start to go older and stuff like that. But yeah, old sets do have a lot to teach. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
But there's a lot you can learn from playing something that's not
Yeah.
the tip top.
I think so. I think the big thing is I think because as this is with all card games, as time goes on, they make effects easier or less punishing a lot of times,
Yeah.
and I think that's why like older sets, like I mean, unfortunately, I started like when this game was like new, so like I only had older sets, but I think nowadays like a good example, right, is like if you're now playing the game, right, I think Attack on Titan's like one of the worst decks you could pick up. Like
As like a first deck.
as a first because it teaches like it doesn't teach you how to. You're gonna probably think, oh, I don't get the combo, it's over, guys. This deck's garbage, right? like because you didn't learn how to play a game when things don't go right, or I didn't get my one combo. So like I think sometimes playing up to date decks kind of may hurt fundamentals. Maybe I'm not sure because
I think you're
I
right
can't-
on that. Like you can crutch a lot more on like not I don't want to say broken effects, but like all these weird plussing stuff they have going on nowadays, right?
Like
Yeah.
if you can look at everything objectively, right? Then playing any deck, it doesn't matter. You can pick up any deck and use that one set or deck or whatever to learn how to play the game and move forward from there. But I think like maybe like because what I thought back in the past, right, is like I think one thing though is like sometimes when picking up an older set, I think more so than none, it just teaches you how to play that set. But I like I do think that I guess it would help you because you're basically it's kind of like you're starting from level 1, right? You're not level 100 and you have all these abilities and stuff and you have to figure it out, right? You're starting from level 1 and like you can like slowly ease your way up and I think maybe some people need that. Like and this may not work for everyone, right? Like this picking up an older set, but I guess it could help.
Yeah,
Because I'm not sure because yeah.
Yeah,
Continue?
I think it just like changes your thought process on how to basically play cards for the min max value is the biggest thing that like I take away from old Weiss at least because I started when the game was still like pretty young, especially in English. Like I started when JP Monica first released, and that the game's completely different compared to back then.
You're cutting out, Kit.
Oh shit, sorry. Yeah, what I was saying was yeah, I played back when JP Monica was just released, the first set, and like min-maxing value back then was like super important, and the game nowadays is like a completely different game compared to back then, so yeah.
So because I don't want to say like this is the absolute way of like learning, right? Like getting better, but because I think like it may be hard for a lot of players to play very old sets, like OG Angel Beats or something, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
A lot of that
mentally, right?
Yeah. A lot of that depends on their locals environment though. Like if
Yeah, because
you're
you need two. You need two. You're right.
yeah.
You know,
It's
You get a
like
second person.
I think that if you're coming to a locals environment where everyone is running in the top every single week, depending on your current level of skill and your player mentality at that time, maybe playing a weaker older set is like really debilitating for you because like or maybe it's an uplifting experience like you're giving yourself a challenge. It depends on the person, right?
right. Like I think the biggest issue I've seen players is when they try to do this, they focus so much on wins and losses, and they feel like if they're losing, they're not doing anything right, or they're losing and they're not doing
Yeah.
anything right. And I think also like this is where like the difference between a player trying to grow as a player is they have to get rid of that feeling and only look to get better, right? Like every step is like something enlightening, I guess I should say, rather than. But that might be hard, like you said, playing an older deck because the human influence of like, well, I'm just getting beaten like every locals, but that doesn't mean you're not getting better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay. When I was saying like older decks, I meant like older decks versus older decks.
Sure,
I-
sure. But,
Yeah.
but realistically, that's not what's going to happen 9 out of 10 times, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
more than likely, if you have a practice buddy, right? Like getting a practice buddy is probably the best thing, right? Like that's where it comes in, right? But taking like an old deck to locals may demoralize you more than
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It depends on your environment. Like,
more.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I
like.
think. Yeah.
Oh
continue.
yeah, continue. No, you.
Okay. Well, man, my short-term memory is terrible. What was I gonna say? We're talking about decks.
Decks
Environment,
demoralizing.
locals.
All right. Right.
Locals.
Got it. So. No, I actually forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, continue, Dean. I might remember later.
Oh, I was gonna say like maybe I'm just like lucky that like even though like my locals was small, like we were all friends. So like if one of us was like, hey, let's play some garbage, it's like we would all just come in with like barely functioning decks. So I guess it does depend on your locals and like how tight knit you are.
But now I remember what I was gonna say. But yes, I agree. But I think one of the best ways of getting better is the biggest issue is just having a 50 card deck. I think one of the best ways of getting better is you own an entire set, right? You own an entire set and you stick with that set and you play a lot with that set. And the reason why I say a set is because now you're able to do what competitive card game players do, and they can sub out cards, deck build and stuff like that. And I think that is the best way of becoming better, like from the beginning, right? Is like you have an entire card pool to yourself. Like example, I bought all of Goblin Slayer, right? You can just take that Goblin Slayer and stick with it for a long time, just only playing that deck, and that might teach you a lot more than that may teach some people a lot more than taking like, well, let me fight Angel Beats versus first set LB or something, right? Like
Mm.
I think that's a better way of learning in 2020. Like up to like because we have so many resources to learn stuff, right? We have YouTube, we have the old articles from the older channels or
Make
older,
Marca great again.
top
Philip
tier
McKay,
kids,
please come back.
and I think there's a lot of tools out there to supplement it to speed up someone's growth rather than going back and playing old deck versus old deck. But that's my 2 cents because like maybe I've just seen so much despair from people trying the old deck type things, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting," and then they go into a local, and that's all they have, and then it just demoralizes them because it feels like they can't do anything.
Oh no, yeah, I know what you're saying because like I won't even touch like any of those old decks and locals. I'm just saying as like a foundation though.
But
Like,
yes,
to
I
brush up
agree,
on the skills.
and that goes back to what Carmen was saying is like it's all about mentality too.
But what you were saying that was interesting, I thought, was like exploring the set, not just playing with the 50 cards. So I'm assuming that you mean like you play the combos that you know aren't good, but you find out why they're not good.
Well, that you can do that too. You can do it too. I'm
No.
saying you just take your play set, make a 50 card deck or copy someone's 50 card deck, whatever you want to do, right? But you stick with that. And once you start playing a lot, right, you start to see how the set operates. You remember the cards that are in the card pool and you start to sub out things. You start to like, well, my locals are playing a lot of early plays and stuff like maybe I need to do this. Like having that access to the card pool allows you to you're developing your deck building skills and you're developing your fundamentals and you're sticking with one set. So you're not hopping the bandwagon of let me play Fate, let me play KonoSuba, let me go to AOT, let me go to SAO, right? You're sticking with one set and you stick with that. And you want to pick a set that's relevant enough to where it would at least last you a year so that it gives you a full year of training, right? That's kind of like what I was telling you guys I was doing this year if there was regionals, right? Like stick with SAO Allicization. It's not super OP, but like or like stick with Goblin Slayer or something, like play something else and stick with it and you might learn something. Or especially if you're new, you will learn something. But that was what I was trying to get across. If you get what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
I tell that to new players all the time. Like they say, "Oh, it's like Carmen. I want to try out Weiss. What's the best way to get into it?" And I tell them every time, it's like, "All right, buy a trial deck, play like 3 games. All right, and if you think you like the game, go and buy the playset of that trial deck and go from there." And that always scares them because playsets can be expensive, right? But I do think there is no better way to jump into the game than having that full card pool, like you said, because it does really train you, especially if you come from another card game. I think it's the fastest way to jump in and really get the ball rolling on becoming a good player.
That's why I would never choose sets like Sword Art. Sword Art, because like you have to catch up on so many different cards unless you can get a playset to re-edit or something like that. But like it's better choosing solid standalone sets for that. I mean, obviously you have to get over like, well, but these are my only options and stuff. But I feel like if you're trying to become good, right? You're trying to get better at the game. I don't think the art on the card matters. I think it's more so you can worry about that later.
I've been saying that forever. I've been saying that since day one.
A lot of the players here don't play for the game mechanics, if that makes sense.
Right, but we're not talking about them, though, right?
Yeah. So the thing is, if someone's watching this podcast or watching this video later, they're not here because my anime titties or whatever, you know? They play for 10% anime titties, 90% the game's fun to them. Like, the mechanics of the games are fun, and they want to be good at it.
I mean, like, obviously we're all weebs. You can't tell from Nico or Kit's backgrounds, but Dean and I
have weeb shit lying around here. It's just I don't decorate my room.
Every time that poster. All right.
But yeah, I mean, I've been saying that since day one. They're just like, oh, like, Carmen, you're buying a lot of Bang Dream. Do you know anything about that? And I'm just like, fuck no, I've never played the game. I don't care. These cards seem good right now. Like,
and another thing is that
that's actually how I got into Bang Dream, though, Carmen.
Yeah, no, same.
I was like, the card art looks really fucking good. Well, no, I said the card art looks really good. I didn't really care about the effects. I was like, I think I looked at the Roselia trial deck, and I'm just like, damn, what the fuck is this? What is this? This was in Korea. I was like, damn, what is this set? Somebody says Bang Dream, and then I think of like Volume 1 Bang Dream. I'm like, wait, what? Are we talking about the same fucking franchise?
Oh, see, what happened with me with Bang Dream was I went to this cool tournament in the Card Academy, and then this guy bottom decked my entire deck of Bang Dream, and I walked away so salty that I'm like, I have to buy this when it comes to English. That was so disgusting. And then I bought Bang Dream.
Shout outs to that guy, whoever the fuck that was.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's weird to tell people to like not care at the beginning because that's like the selling point of the game.
Well, no, you can do that. So that's what I was gonna like add to it is you can get what you want, but just make sure on the side you have this playset of another set to help you get better. If that's what I'm saying. Or if you want to just get better with that, then the other option is just to singly. Oh, I need these cards. We'll singly just order them in, right? It's. I'm saying it's a lot harder when you don't own the set because you gotta track down the cards, right?
Yeah. Get the playset. You're right. Get the playset.
Ideally, right? Like you'd want to say, like, well, you know, it shouldn't really matter what's on the cards, but I mean, like at the same time, how a lot of people like how I first got into this game was the fact that it was anime, right? Like that's how I first got into it. So I'm not trying to like discard that. I'm just saying like if you're trying to get better, you're like on a mission. So like you can have those sets you like, but then maybe you want to play another set to help you get better or like balance the two over, or just deal with not having cards. I guess this is where TTS could actually become useful, right? Like you don't need to own the cards. Because what I did is I used to proxy card decks and stuff like that, right? Like print it out and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, I still do. Like,
so I guess the key though is like I was saying, that's a lot harder for an expanded set, like stuff like KonoSuba set 1, 2, now movie set. Then you have SAO 1, 2, 3, 4 X number of times. Bang Dream now is like what on their 4th, 5th set or something, third.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
So but I do think that if you try hard enough, you can find the card. So if there is a set you like and you wanna be good with and use that set, you're just gonna have to work a little bit harder to find the cards. That's all it comes down to. So I guess not really to persuade anyone from not playing like don't think that you can't play your favorite set and get better, right? Like Just know that it might be a little bit harder to find cards on expansive sets that have expansions.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think for all of us, I'm sure there's a lot of decks that we would all bring at locals, but we never take to a regional. So like, everyone has their.
I would never take Symphogear to any professional. Like for JP, I would never take Symphogear to any professional fucking.
I own so many decks I'd never bring to like any real event ever. Just play at locals, but then again, I have locals 5 times a week before quarantine happens, so I get to play a lot more than other people.
Man, imagine having locals more than 2 times a month. Anyway.
And only driving 10 minutes as opposed to driving 3.5 hours.
Yeah, we're spoiled. We're so spoiled in Pittsburgh. Well, I guess Texas is kind of like that too, right? You guys have a ton of locals.
Dallas has a lot of locals.
Dallas does.
Texas only has 2 locals a week, but I mean Houston only 2 locals a week, but Dallas has like 4 to 5.
Okay. Yeah, so I wasn't sure
Texas.
Exactly.
You said Texas. You didn't say Houston, so yeah, Texas. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like Texas is like 3 states, man. That state is
yeah,
massive.
Oh man.
Takes forever just to get out of Texas.
That's true. Anything else you guys want to touch up on? I guess this entire talk right there. If not, I guess we'll jump into chat questions and stuff and kind of round it out there. So as always, if you guys have questions, we always take questions from the Discord first. If you're not a part of the Discord, I have it saved here. Join the Discord here, and you can ask questions in the question channel or whatever every week. And I try to post up whenever there is a new guest coming on, so you guys can have specific questions towards the guest. But we start here first. We ask the Patreon questions first, and then move on to Discord questions, and then whatever is hanging left in chat, we answer at the end, as long as we have enough time. So the first question we have from the Patreon is from Audrey. She asked the Riaz, was the added pressure to repeat, or did you find it easier the second time around? I assume this is obviously to the fact that you won Worlds twice. So like, do you feel there was like extra pressure having to win again, or?
So when I first won, right, in 2017, going into 2018, I think in my mind, like, I created extra pressure on myself, and it's why I didn't do as well in 2018. And like, because I like basically at that point I was like on a mission to myself, right, to prove to myself that it just wasn't like a fluke or whatever, right? So by that like statement, yeah, there was pressure the second time. The third time I didn't feel any pressure, because I guess I just like gave up on that like notion and threw that away and just like, I'm gonna just play the best I can and see how far I can get at Worlds. But so the third time that I was like competing, the third year, I there wasn't as much pressure as there was on the second year, but quite not as like the pressure on the first year was non-existent basically.
Yeah.
So I guess that'd be answering your question there. So from the first to the second win, I guess there was a whole year where there was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, makes
that
sense.
I was creating for myself.
All right. Next question from Discord here. Well, the next one technically I think we already answered. It was from Ollie. Shout out to Ollie in chat. He wants to know Riaz's thoughts on AOT's meta placement when Memory Soak comes out. So I guess do you have like a tier you think it's gonna be at, or I guess we kind of touched up on this, but like, what do you think? Still tier 1, tier 2 then, or what do you think?
It really depends, because I still think it's tier 1, but like for the fact that you can literally, if you really want, you can sub out a different combo if you're that scared of Memory Stone and play 8 wins. 8 wins is like around the same damage numbers as double Mikasa, just probably less likely to hit because it's 2 instead of 1 and 1. Mm-hmm. But I think that AOT's placement doesn't really change unless more than half, like talking about like 40 to like 80% of people start playing Memory Snow, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Memory Snow can't really realistically kill Attack on Titan from 3-0, but at the same time, AOT can't kill Memory Snow because they don't have burns. So I think at the same time, it really depends on. Plus, I do think that AOT, Memory Snow forfeits a lot of level. Like, it forfeits his level 1 to Attack on Titan pretty easily because level 1 combo is pretty weak. even with the 2K counter. So I think that it doesn't really change the placement. It may change
just how you build the deck, right?
how you build
And,
it.
and that's like a meta call if you do that.
Right. So overall, I don't think it changes placement. I think that AOT has too many good matchups to ruin its current placement.
I think that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
It just has way too many good matchups. Yeah.
And it's the one deck that keeps KonoSuba in check the most. Well, currently. I mean, the other sets may change stuff, but currently it's the one deck that keeps it in check.
Yeah, like I've said a lot before too. AOT, I feel like AOT is the best like solitaire deck in Weiss at this point. I think Maneuver Gear is super good. Well, yeah.
I don't know if you would say solitaire, but
yeah, I don't know. The deck. I feel like the deck has almost no interaction with your opponent in some cases, but
I mean, I guess
it's questionable. Yeah.
Yeah, but like on that note, just because diehard AOT, playing AOT for 10 million years, but the deck's actually really hard to play efficiently in the current meta. Like, it's not easy to get reverses. It's not at all easy. Like when it just came out, I think it was easy just because everything's forfeited everything to you for like 7 months, 7 to 8 months.
Yeah.
I think right now it's just really hard to play the deck. You need to know the meta. You need to know how decks interact with each other so you can better play AOT against them, because you're not getting free reverses. Shoot, half the match you may not even get a single reverse. Or if you do, you're killing yourself with like Sakura bombs or GGO bombs or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Continue on.
Next question is from, I do not know how to say this name, so I'm gonna butcher it. It's Akanai.
Akanai?
Is that Akanai? I guess sure.
I believe so.
Is it from the Discord?
Yeah, it's from Discord.
Yeah,
is Riaz gonna win Worlds with Alice? I'm gonna guess
with
now.
What? Are you cutting off?
Oh, sorry. He's asking. He or she is asking if you're gonna win Worlds with Alkazation. I assume is what Alice stands for.
No, I don't think I would actually play that for Worlds unless like everyone was playing. Like, I think that the decks for winning were good against it. But the issue is with Alicization, as while it's a solid set, there are better options, and as long as better options exist, I would never take it to Worlds. So no, I don't think I'll win Worlds with Alicization because I wouldn't play it at Worlds.
Yeah.
Unless the set 2 came out, right? But currently, no.
Yeah, with what's available, definitely.
Like, I think I would argue that with Bang Dream's new set, you're better off playing Bang Dream than you are playing Alicization if you want a ridiculous finisher and like some utility or whatever.
All right.
But no, I wouldn't take it, so therefore I couldn't win with it.
All right, this next question, I feel like we kind of talked enough about it during the podcast, but if anyone else wants to add on to it, they can. So Sonic Colors ask, is Weiss based on luck or is it all skill? I mean, this game's like 70% skill, 30% luck, or something around there, maybe a little bit more skill.
I equate it to the same as poker. A lot of the times,
it's very similar to poker.
You're very much trying to take the best lines of play that you can. Sometimes the best lines of play end up fucking you the most in the end, but like you just can't let that discourage you.
Yeah, I don't really like putting numbers on it. Like, all I say is that in general, this game has a lot more skill than most people think it does.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't have a lot. It has a little bit more luck than some of the hard. I mean, I've seen some people that are like 100% skill or whatever, but like at the end of the day, every card game, you're dealing with cards.
Card game.
There's
there's going to be that element of luck. Yeah.
But the fact that you and your opponent are under the same influences, that how much luck or skill, it doesn't matter, because the skill is all that matters in the end. So there's really no number to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Have you played against some of these fucking players?
I hate even.
I play against this guy named Kick King.
Calm down, dude.
It's more like variance, not luck. Like, it's
right.
Yeah. I don't like using the word luck because I think Weiss's biggest strength as a card game is that it hides its skill-intensive properties so well that there are people out there that think it's like an all-luck game because, they haven't played with the systems enough and stuff like that. I think that's a feather in its cap rather than a drawback.
Oh, I feel like it's more like a double-edged sword, man. It's like really
really
bad
that can be true. Yeah,
you can get like new players into the game because you're like, like any deck can win because RNG is a thing, but at the same time, other people are like,
with my Ime.
Yeah. Then other people like don't see beyond that of like the RNG-ness of taking damage. and then that makes them upset or whatever. But yeah. Anyone else have anything to add to that?
No, I
So
think that's
TLDR, it has more skill than you think, but less skill than we're letting on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
think that's
Sorry, not
actually
less
pretty-
skill, not
pretty
less
good
skill,
way.
more luck. Because I feel like the skill is like there's actually there's a lot of that, but I feel like the luck is still always there.
Dean's still traumatized by every Weiss game he's ever played. But
I mean, I will say there's a reason why you see a lot of
the
like
same players.
Yeah.
go to Worlds and stuff. A lot of same like names and stuff top. It's same as poker.
Right.
A lot of the like it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? If it was truly all luck, you wouldn't see the same people ending up at Worlds every single year, especially for the last like 4 years.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Please ask Ria, or this is from, I don't even know how to say that. Fiban Goal 76 or FBI. I don't know. That guy. Please ask Riaz what he thinks of Revi Starlight Futaba / Karuko. So I guess this is the mono yellow deck. I assume 8-win deck for English.
It's a neat deck. I played it for a long time, but then I sold it to other player. But I think it's a pretty cool deck at level 3. Non-interactive, can stop a lot of things. I think its biggest issue is transitioning from 0 to 3. Like level 0, it's okay. Level 1, it's really bad in the current meta. Sucks against standby. Sucks against AOT.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks against Wally decks, that level 1 wall decks, because your card's pretty weak. And I think it really goes back to what some of you guys are saying about like learning how to play older decks. When you don't get your combo, you're gonna have to figure out how to like you have to figure out how you're gonna get all these resources to your hand to get the end game, because it doesn't matter how good an end game is if you can't actually get to it. So I think it's a okay deck. I think without the second set that we don't have in English right now, I don't think it's a good deck to take in tournament, but it's a fine deck to play, and you don't like you see it and you don't feel bad, right? Like, oh, I'm taking it to tournament, but I wouldn't recommend it. But in terms of how like, what was the question again? Like, what do you want to know specifically about the deck?
Just what do you think of it?
What I think about it? Yeah, I think it's a fine deck, but I don't think it is a very competitive deck currently. It's like one of those decks where, like I was telling Carmen last year, right? It's a deck that you can take into the tournament, and I wouldn't be surprised if it won, but I wouldn't expect it to win.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. This next question is for all of us. Which is from Platinum Point. Which is better for playtesting, single sleeve or double sleeve?
I double
Man, I
sleeve
hate
everything.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like single sleeves.
These
Easy.
peons.
Easy single sleeve because you can switch out cards faster.
Exactly.
More
That's why I leave it as single sleeve also.
play time. Easy. It adds up.
Okay, I think there's a caveat to that. It depends on the sleeves you're using. If you're using like anime sleeves or whatever, I think you just always double sleeve.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you
For Dragon
oversleeve.
Shields, for Dragon Shields and stuff, you just single sleeve.
Dragon
I
Shields, I
just-
single sleeve. It depends on. Honestly, it depends on how expensive the cards are for me. If they're like even remotely valuable, I double sleeve everything because I don't know. What is it? Inner sleeves are so cheap. Like this is the one thing I won't buy from an LGS. Otherwise, always support your LGSs. Inner sleeves, like KMC inner sleeves, you can get 10 packs of them for like $15 on Amazon. Just like burn through those like nothing else. I just like the feel of it. It's all just personal preference. But yeah. Swapping stuff out faster is a clear winner.
Realistically, though, like not trolling, I would answer that I just don't like taking a card out of a sleeve and then taking it out again. Even up to this day, I only single sleeve. Actually, I've not double sleeve since 2014.
I only oversleeve.
Damn.
I've never actually used inner sleeves, so I'm with you.
Oh no, I lied. I had my LB deck 2-soul deck in like double sleeves for like a week, and then I took it out because I couldn't shuffle. My hands are very small, so it's really hard for me to shuffle. I
got bear
It
paws.
just felt weird.
I like my the more slab like a card is, the better it feels, in my opinion.
But then again, I riffle shuffle, so that's why I single sleeve.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I also play with the lowest rarity cards possible.
Yeah, me too.
I riffle with max rarity.
God damn it.
This guy's
Light
flexing.
ripples, light ripples.
Yeah. Have you heard you got second place with Max Ray Disguise in Texas? Anyway.
Those are good times.
Oh man. All right. This one's also from Platinum Point. For Riaz, do you think it's feasible to sticking maybe 3 sets for a year to get good at, and pick up other sets to add to your skill pool?
Okay, you sort of cut. You said
Oh,
is it feasible
sorry.
to pick up 3?
Yeah,
sets?
pick up 3 sets for like a year to get good at, and then pick up other sets to add to your skill pool.
I mean, it all comes down to how much money you want, right? You can pick up as many sets as you want, right? It really comes down. But I do think that like 3 sets a year, like realistically, I'm pretty sure you're talking about getting better. So like realistically, I think that 3 sets a year is a good number. But like in that year, like up to this day, right? Like even at Worlds, I've been playing AOT for like 3 years, and I still have learned like a few things up to this day. So I think 3 sets is a good number. I think any more you might be overwhelmed to learn them all, learn how to optimize all 3 of them. I think that's a good number. It may be too many for some people. It may be too little bit for some people, depending on how much time, how much money, and stuff you want to do.
To springboard off that, I think that. Or
yeah.
you go ahead. Yeah, finish. No, finish up. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say like more than likely, like me personally, it'd be like 2 sets, right? Like one, I would test like all for the spring, and the other one I'll just test all for the fall, kind of thing. But that's what I would do. I also probably can't afford to buy like 3 sets a year. So anyway, I probably could, but no. But yeah, continue.
I think that every one you add, like if you're talking about full sets, so like play sets with all these sets, every one you add in any like given amount of time, you're gonna have like diminishing returns. It's all about really exploring that one set, and learning, building your deck building skills and card evaluation skills and stuff like that. Because like Riaz said, you're gonna be mid game and you're gonna realize, I know this card in my set would be 10 times better than this card in this one situation. And you'll start making those connections faster the more you stick with one thing. But you could probably do 2 or 3 in a year.
Yeah, it all comes to how much time you're willing to put into it, right? If you don't play Weiss so much, you're probably down to 1 and you just buy the others and keep them because you like them or whatever, and then play them whenever you can. But yeah, I think 3 is fine. It's fine.
All right. Let's see. Thoughts on this is from Unsiga? Yeah, well, God, I'm so bad. Why am I reading everyone's names? This is a mistake. Thoughts on how the English meta tier list would end up with KonoSuba movie set comes out along with Memory Snow and AT? What's AT? Oh, Adventure Time and stuff.
Adventure Time.
I don't know. That's like way too early.
I can't even
to really...
speak about Adventure Time.
Yeah, this is like way too early to like really look at. I think we all think KonoSuba is going to be pretty high up there no matter what at this point.
I mean, it can't get worse, right? It can't get worse, so it's gonna stay where it's at or be better, right? That's all it can do.
Yeah.
I think Memory Snow is probably going to place around the same area where original ReZero placed, maybe a little lower, because it's lacking some of the tools that makes original ReZero.
I think ReZero is like cutting off like the tier 1 list area. Whereas
ReZero crept up, right? Are you talking about ReZero's original placing where everybody put it, where it's like this deck doesn't have a finisher, and then everybody realized,
so like I placed ReZero in like A tier, right? It's like for me, it's like the first deck in A tier, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like
the bottom,
top of tier 2, bottom of tier 1 type of deal, in between.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. I think Memory Snow's like around tier.
But
tier
that's not even to say it's a bad deck, because I think ReZero is still like incredibly good.
I think ReZero's biggest strength is how consistent it is all the time.
I think Mem Snow.
Well, have you guys followed the meta when set 1 ReZero came out, and that was like almost the only deck played in JP, and that was just mainly because it was so damn consistent, and like you get off your game plan literally every single game.
It was my first Japanese set, but I think Memory Snow's the better deck, like non-ironically. Like I think,
really,
I think the Felt run deck is. I think it's not as good as people want to make out. I think that like the matchup, it's a very polarizing deck. It's like if it's going off and it's doing very well,
you're
it's
unstoppable. Yeah.
but like if you like when we're getting like Fujimi Bunko and like decks that really fight for board at 2 and we have Love Life Sunshine around, like those decks just inherently bully ReZero's trying to do level 2 game, right?
Yeah,
They'd have to hit 2 first.
I think a good answer to that is that I don't like it's not so much like which deck is better, but more so like he was saying, like which deck is currently better in the current meta that we expect this. Now I can't even say the meta, right? We're in that we expect to see.
Yeah.
And I think like the way I look at it is maybe I think ReZero is probably definitely a better deck in a vacuum, but like maybe Memory still might be better for the upcoming meta, and therefore in a tier list, it may place higher depending on what sees play. If Bunko never sees play and you start seeing the same thing you always see, or very weak cards at level 2, then regular ReZero is probably the better choice.
Yeah. My thought was just with Memory Snow is they have a lot more hand fixing and they can they're more comfortable playing without combo, but they have like a much higher chance of hitting combo as well.
That
Well,
I do think, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was going to say like normal ReZero. If you don't have a good Amelia turn, like the deck is way weaker than like what it needs to be.
The one thing about Memory Snow. Oh, continue.
Oh, I was just going to say that was pretty much it.
Oh, I was going to say the one thing on Memory Snow is that it's to me I feel its early play are like a lot lower quality than ReZero early plays. So
yeah, for sure.
Your early play is basically a pay for early play for the first one, and then hopefully you get refunded when slot because you got to get 2 of those things in memory. I mean, granted, they're going to go in memory anyway because you're trying to stop anti-burn, but...
Dean taught me the secret.
I actually think that card. I really think the merge is the better. I think the Amelia early play is actual garbage.
I think the merge is better also.
Even at mid-locals, I played Dean round 1 with this deck, and I'm playing the Amelia early play. And he goes, I think that card sucks. And I was like, oh, but Dean, I hate the Suba Wall. Like, I hate that it doesn't attack. I'm so skeptical. And he's like, just try it. Just try it. And I changed my deck on the spot. And I still lost my other 2 games because I was bricking like crazy. It was not a good night for me. And I was also very drunk. However, that card is very good. The Suba Wall, I think, is the superior level 2.
Being able to put cards on the bottom of your deck, getting the marker compression, all of those are powerful. And it heals. Like, it interacts nicely with the tap 2 Brainstorm too, because you can like tap the merge pieces after shuffling the cards to the bottom. Like it's got too many interactions that are cool and that are like actually like powerful.
It's also hexproof.
It's hexproof and like it's big enough that like your opponent might not be able to run over it. Like I think if you play an assist behind it, I think it's like a 14K. Because there's a card that's like a 3/5 assist to it or something, or a 3K assist or something absurd.
Something like that.
I just think the Amelia is a trap because, like you said, it's a 4 stock card, right? Getting the two rems to memory is actually hard. Stock wise.
I think you may. Well, it depends on how much room, because I haven't tried the build deck yet, right? I'll probably end up doing that closer to when it comes out in English, but I think what does the one you're talking about? I can't remember. Does it heal or is it just a beat stick?
It heals and then it doesn't attack. It can't attack. Okay. It just top checks and burns for 2 plus the soul triggers on the card.
So it attacked, but
you're just not getting the stock, right? That's all.
You
do get the stock. The card goes to stock. What it does is it never overswings into open lanes, but you also deny yourself gate and book triggers, like you can't get plussing triggers. But it's it also is not affected by things like Rider Wall and Egg Soul.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's got some really powerful interactions, and then it also has the benefit of marker compression. I don't know. Have you played much Gurren Lagann, or because you mostly play English, right?
I fought a lot of Gurren Lagann, and I haven't played it myself, but I've fought it for a long time.
So do you respect like how powerful markers are? I feel like some players don't.
I respect that since OG ReZero and JP.
Oh yeah, that's
true. I too like
marker.
And then Hinalogy was like the master of markers at one point.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of players like it's like hard to value getting like a single marker, right? Like how good is it to play a 2/1 that gets 2 markers? It's like, well,
Shoot, I played the dark.
That's the same thing as a toilet, right?
Yeah.
If you hit next deck, it's the same thing as a
And it has a body. Like
So-
Pittsburgh has a lot of Gurren Lagann, and you'd have to respect that shit really quick because you can just they get super compressed out of nowhere.
Yeah, you hit them to 2, and then suddenly you're like, I can't do anything. They have 13 cards on board.
They are these 2/1/12Ks that swing for 2 every turn because of this back row support, and I can't do anything about it because all I have is anti-change to deal with level 2 targets because I'm a meta slave and I didn't think about this. So, so yeah, you come to respect that stuff really quickly. Markers are very powerful.
That's why I think the Mim Snow is better positioned. Like, I think that what it's going to do is it's going to be more consistent overall.
Well, think about it this way: it definitely has a better AOT matchup than regular ReZero.
That's
Unless they play your Worlds version.
Worlds, dude. I'm still so confused about Worlds because you beat me. But then poor Ian, played some 1/1 mill runner.
The Sasha, dude. Andy plays that
the entire game, but I beat him, so I don't know.
That Sasha is like the spiciest pack.
Oh man. All right. Move on. Next question from Freedom is how do you rank each of the mono band decks after Bang Dream Volume 2?
I'll leave it up to one of you guys.
Yeah, I guess we had a band league, right?
Pop and Party, Roselia. I don't think the rest really matter.
Well, Bob and Party.
I guess Pastel, I would say, was number 3, and then Hello Happy World.
Hello Happy World's pretty
Whatever.
good. I love it.
I think I'm not gonna win with Hello Happy World.
Poppy Putt is the meta deck, right?
It's basically the meta deck. There's 2 or 3 cards missing, but it's whatever. It's still really powerful. And then after that, I think all the band decks are basically similar power level.
Roselia is a cut above, I think. They have more tools than every other band, and then you have actual options for multiple meaningful level 1 and level 3 finishers.
Yeah.
So they're definitely cut above the rest, but Afterglow is always going to be a pile. They can't make that deck work. Hello Happy's always interesting and memey, and that's why we love it. Yeah, I don't know.
I think Pastel is still kind of decent.
Well, they have a couple shells, right? They have the Shiroha.
Yeah. They have the Shiroha. They also have just the generic 7K walls and stuff. I think it's okay.
The Pastel, plenty of people played the Pastel engine in actual meta Bang Dream decks for a while.
Yeah.
That stuff has legs, especially in English.
Yeah, so I'd probably rate it as Pop and Party is number 1, Roselia is number 2, Pastel is number 3, and then Afterglow and Hello Happy World tying it out for 4 and 5.
Hello Happy World's above Afterglow. Afterglow is a pile of a deck. It has the one spooky level 3 Ron, and that's it.
So you think that? Okay, I really don't like Afterglow, but to defend,
I love Afterglow.
Do you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do love Afterglow. The deck.
But you have tap counter. The problem with the tap counter is you need a full field, which sucks. Of Afterglow, by the way. Yeah, and your Bang Dream. You have a fairly decent early play in the Ron.
It doesn't shine in the mono Afterglow builds the same way it does in the
Dean was talking about this really dank level 0 alarm card that you clock, and then you say "hey hey ho," and then
let's not fight about that again.
Oh man,
that's a sneak peek at some upcoming Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz content.
I almost want to ask Riaz about that card.
The AAO.
Ask him right now.
Such a contentious card.
Riaz,
what's up?
You're here. We were discussing a card, and how good do you think it is? I want you to just read this card.
It was very contentious.
It was. First, give us your how you feel about this card, and then also why you feel that way, and then we can discuss it a little bit.
Oh my god.
For those of you listening, this is the new Himari
level 0 alarm. It's like a common.
I have
from
linked
Volume 2.
Chat for the people who are not aware of the card.
While Riaz is thinking about it, it is alarm. If this card is on the top of your clock, the beginning of your main phase, you may say AAO. If your opponent responds AAO, you both search. Otherwise, nothing happens.
Wait, when this card is placed on the stage from hand, so
You don't
hand
The
care
first
about
effect is almost irrelevant. It's the alarm
Oh,
effect.
okay.
Yeah, it's the alarm effect, yeah.
So all it is that hey ho, and if that doesn't, if they both say, do you get the what now?
You both
You get a
the
free search. You both get a free search.
To be honest, like first looking at this card, I think that like really that's why I was looking at the first effect is that like it just gives when you have to go 2K on play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think that part alone is somewhat relevant. Now going to the I guess the real reason you asked me this question. The question here is that how often will the opponent rather both of y'all plus? And I think it's really depending on matchup. I like half the time this probably does nothing, but like there may be situations where like your opponent and you want something, so your opponent will give you something just so he or she can get something. Do I like this card? I guess I should start there. I don't like this card for the fact that I really hate RNG type cards. And to me, this is the same thing as any RNG, like a top check you're trying to like. There's a less reliable top check. Like, what are the odds your opponent will respond to you and actually get a card? And it really depends on the situation. So, I mean, I don't like this type of card for the sole fact, like memeing aside, for the sole fact that this card may or may not do something. Now, if I needed to pump something 2K, something needs to reverse, and this card's really nice because it does two different things. But no, I don't like a card like this just because I don't like. This is the same thing as like the Mahime card, like your opponent calls the level, right? Like I don't like relying on RNG effects when the other effect may or may not be as useful. So this card has almost no purpose in your deck unless the 2K is valuable. That's my like competitive thought, right?
If somebody dropped this on you, what would you do?
If I know, like, it depends on the matchup, right? Like, let's say I'm playing AOT and someone dropped this on me. If I know they're gonna leave cards for me, I'm gonna say you can search. I'm gonna search. I'm gonna get triple Aaron off. You know, like.
See, and
really...
herein lies the like big catch-22 at this card, right? It's like so. Obviously, there's like contextual issues with this card. Obviously, you don't. No one ever lets you search when you're at level 3. We're talking about like a more value-oriented scenario, right? Where like yeah, like you said, like going into level 1, like getting your errands and stuff like that. So the philosophical question surrounding this card is that the question we pose is that every player comes into a tournament saying my deck is the best deck. Mm-hmm. So if you throw down a card that says we both plus, whose plus is better? My most powerful deck or my opponent's deck, right? And it's like
it really, I mean, obviously you have to play Bang Dream for this, right? But like realistically, like I think a more competitive player, unless they really need that card, will always say no. But I think there are actual situations where, like, let's say you're playing the better deck, quote unquote, that you'll agree to this just because you know that it doesn't matter how much you plus. Like, look at the aspect of Sao, right? Sao will always plus, right? So it doesn't matter how much your opponent pluses if you think that your plus is gonna supersede them. So I think that's kind of what you're saying a second ago too. Is it like I mean, realistically, you might just want to just make your opponent just not break even with this card. Because you plus 1. Your opponent pluses 1, but you break even because you played this from your hand.
No, it's not. It's an alarm effect.
It's a clock.
Oh, it's an alarm effect. Oh, yeah. my bad. It's an alarm. I completely.
Yeah.
So it's not a necessarily like a neg.
Oh, my bad.
I think the big problem this card would have is it takes up your deck.
Oh, okay. It's an alarm card. I thought it was a place in state. Okay. Well, that doesn't really change much.
It's
It
still the
it, it
same, yeah.
it's it. Well, this is even like I said. It goes back to what I was saying, right? If the 2K is not relevant, this card's extra space in your deck that you probably don't want. But now, this is starting to become really bad in terms of deck building, like you were saying, because for you to see this early on, since they're not going to do it later on, they may not do it later on from like level 2 or 3. To see these early on, this needs to be at like 3 or 4 copies in your deck. I mean, you could have like 1 or 2 just for the lulls, but at that point, you might as well have cards that actually help your deck. So, like from a deck building perspective, I don't think this card is very valuable then, unless you're using it for the 2K. I mean, like that was just like I don't know. Like I don't know if you're expecting me to meme or something, but like I try to take that as serious as possible.
I understand. I don't. I had like a the way I approached it, and I don't want to. I can't say too much because I have to test it. But I think this card. I think it comes down to the fact you say that most people will deny it, so maybe you're closer in line with the average Vice player's mindset than I am, because I think that you take the plus every time.
You said you think though. I mean, like I said, it depends on your situation, right? Like I think I think if you do this, you go through a regional, you do this. I think most of the players would deny this.
Do you? Because I think it like saves me from using a stock. It saves me from using a Ricky effect. It
But
like sets up my combo.
It removes the damage from your deck too before damage step, right?
Yeah, like it does so much for you. And with Bane Dream's card pool, what the hell are they searching at 0 that's going to be detrimental to you?
The big thing I think is like, again, it's all contextual, right? Like, obviously, every person at level like probably 2 and 3 just says no. Like, you do not get to search your early play or your other thing or stuff like that. Because especially if it's Afterglow, I don't want them throwing down Rons with hand on core. Like, just throw down an extra Ron.
I think if you think your deck, like you said, if you think your deck is better, or no, let's ignore that. If you just think you're just the better player overall, I think you're gonna advocate for the search, just because you say, "Oh, well, I don't care how much play she's gonna beat my opponent," right? Like I have a better deck, I'm a better player, or something, right? So I think those times, you'll search. So maybe you actually get the search on better players than you do on other players.
I actually thought, I actually just thought of something, and that's you are mainly an AOT player.
I am mainly an AOT player, yes.
Leave it to the AOT players. Say, I will always deny my opponent the plus.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Wait, what? But I legit said that if I was playing AOT, more than likely I would just let it happen so I get my Aaron.
I know you said it there, but then you're like, in any other deck that can't continuously deny my opponent a plus, I'll deny.
Oh yeah, I mean I agree. Like if I was playing Style Alice, I may not want you to do it because an extra card in my hand may not actually help me as much. I think I'd rather you not plus at all as a Style Alice player because my deck is weaker than majority of decks out there in terms of the top decks or whatever. Or in terms of Bang Dream, I'll say that because this is Bang Dream. I keep like I have to like it's Bang Dream versus X.
It's Bang Dream.
It's not X versus X.
Yeah.
All right,
I think we've gone down this rabbit hole now.
I
just thought it was an interesting question because
it is a really interesting effect.
It explores like also the player's mindset a little bit, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Next question. We need to wrap this up pretty soon.
So we
have a question from Sensha. Will standby Sal be obsolete with Slime and Memory Snow?
No.
No.
I don't think so. Realistically, most standby decks are never obsolete unless there's something that's specifically countering standby.
Standby's too strong. It's too strong of a mechanic. Oh wait, never mind. It doesn't push damage. It's fine.
God damn it. All right.
Tell me how you really feel, Carmen.
You're too deep into the beers.
Too deep.
All right. I got another one from Sensha. How did you guys start your locals?
I didn't start my locals. Wow. They were there when I showed up.
Yeah.
Man. See, I actually have a story since I'm one of the, I guess, founders of our North Side locals. Is how do we start our locals? Dude, it was funny. It was like 4 of us, and 2 of us were from Japanese class, and then 2 other people, and 5 in total. And we were actually driving around to different places, like to coffee shops, to other like stores, and like trying to teach people the game. to get expanded because we had nothing at all in Houston.
That's awesome though.
And then
Pound the pavement.
And then another like Houston's big. Or sorry, Houston's big. So like another side of Houston ended up creating a store, and that ended up being our locals. And then the north side, where me and a few others are working on, we migrated to a store as well. We found a store that would support the game, and then that's how that local is built. And now they live up to this day, both of them. We were legit driving around all over the place, dude. Like Anime Matsuri would drive there, and like, we had a card game section dedicated to Weiss at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a TD tournament a while ago, a few years ago. Like I don't know, it was an adventure. I felt like I was living in anime trying to like get this game started because it bore like zero fruit. Like it legit, right? Like people didn't care that much. Other people were like, "Oh, it's an interesting game, like at card shops," but you never see them again.
Yeah, or they just go back to Yu-Gi-Oh or something.
But once Neo Showdown came out in like 2014 or whatever, whenever like Love Live and like OG Sao was out and stuff, like people started to flock more to the game because when I was trying to teach, it was only trial decks.
Yo.
And we had Japanese cards, but like another new players, they come in, they see Japanese cards, and like, well, I can't even read this, and why do I have to go look up online on translations to do it? So it was kind of hard to teach players Japanese, so we had to just use the trial decks. Disgaea trial deck, Mataga trial deck, and Fate Zero, I believe, trial deck. Yeah.
Yep, those were the first three.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting back then too. The mine was like kind of similar-ish. Well, it was pretty much like I picked this game up in 2012 when the first trial decks had dropped because I was on the Fortunes. And people were talking about like a Fate, like Saber waifu, and I was like big into Fate Zero. So I got really excited, and I saw Disgaea and Fate and Madoka, and I was like, okay, let's try this game out. And then like didn't really have a locals for the longest time because kind of hard to have a locals for this game. Actually, extremely hard to have a locals for this game.
Yeah.
But then one day I'm at like college, and somebody's like, hey. I like Sword Art Online. I'm like, oh, cool. I have these Sword Art Online cards. And then that's how it starts. You just get two people. You show up at the card shop. More people come up. No, not a lot of people. Don't worry. We had like 5.
It's still Weiss. It's still Weiss.
We got to 5 though. We had like people.
Yeah, I got kind of lucky. Every place I go to already had a locals, thankfully. Otherwise, I would have quit this game so long ago. I would have been grinding.
Where you're at has a locals?
Wait, what?
Where you're at has a locals? You
All right.
Drive 3.5 hours?
To be fair, I'm also an idiot, so... Oh, man. Yeah, the only reason I still play this game is just like a bunch of life circumstances happened at the same time, and I was like, well, no girlfriend, I have a shit ton of money to do nothing with, and it's boring as hell in the Midwest. I remember there's this group that still plays Weiss out here. I'm gonna go visit them again, and then that's when I met Dean.
I was so new to the game back then too.
Dude, meeting Dean was like the best like Weiss story I have because
I can agree.
It's so stupid.
Everybody has one, dude.
Oh,
everybody has a we're meet Dean story.
I think mine is the most vanilla. It's just like I walked into local today. I see the guy in like the top Nep hat. I think he's wearing like just a Neptune shirt or something. I was like, damn.
I remember
this guy's an unapologetic weeb.
Because you were like new, and I remember you had Milky Helms, and I just bought Milky Helms. I'm like, hell yeah, let's fight this mirror match. I got destroyed.
I told my story right about the White Plains bathroom.
Yeah, I'm always like really out of it the first couple of rounds of a tournament. I was really confused.
This was Brian and I walked into the bathroom, and I was complaining about how all we got was the stupid retardondo Arisa promo, and like Dean is in there in his full like onesie, right? As
That was that year. That was that year.
He's walking out, and all he says is he
Oh
whips
my
around and says, "Don't make fun of Arissa," and walks off. And I'm just like, "What?"
Oh man.
Good times.
The first time I met Dean was at the Atlanta Regionals. Like they dragged everyone with the bike cars to the front. He looks at me. He's like, "You already have your invite. Why are you here?"
Oh,
Wait,
man.
that could have been the first time we met.
That we physically met. I mean, we talked online before,
Oh yeah.
like on Discord. Well, actually, I don't even think I talked to you that much on Discord because you were like known as like some meme on Discord when you were like TLR and stuff like that, like talking about decks and stuff. But I don't think I've actually met you before that in person at all.
Mm.
I mean, at that time, people already knew me before I even knew them. So
You're right. Yeah, it's being a face in the community, right?
something like that, I guess.
All right. Last question from Discord. Do you think this is from Platinum Points? Do you think the number of wins are a good indicator of skills, given the amount of factors that can affect the outcome, like variance and different skills and stuff like that?
I think that honestly depends on how many games played. If you're talking about like wins in an average day, no. I think if you're talking about like wins in, if like let's just say you're playing an average of like 20 games a week or something over the course of a whole year, then yeah, probably it's a better indicator there.
Right, I agree with that statement. It really depends on how much you're looking at it. Like if you play like 1,000 games and you've won like 800, that might be a good indicator. Versus you play 1,000 games, you won like 5. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really like cut and dry, but that's basically the best way to put it.
I think there's a really big difference between games played at a local level and games played in a tournament, like a regional tournament and stuff
I
like
agree.
that. Yeah, it's like I think because like you hear a lot from like players online and stuff like that. Who's like you can tell like when they start talking and you start talking about meta and stuff like that. You can tell like who's been to a regional, who travels, who doesn't, stuff like that. So you got to keep that in mind too. It's the level at which you're playing, and you're talking about like we said it before. It's like if this game was all luck and stupid, the same people wouldn't be placing. Same people wouldn't be top 8ing, the same people wouldn't be going to worlds and stuff like that. So it's important to keep in mind the level of the game that is being played, as well as your total number of wins and losses over a larger amount of time. Larger span of time is the key there. Like day to day, no way. Like you can't do it on just day to day.
Yeah, I think like one indicator, if you're looking for something to like gauge your skill level and if you're getting better or not, as long as you have a consistent locals, you can just see how many times a month do I win these locals, or how many times do I like top 4 these locals. Like if you're consistently topping like every local, except don't look at Dean.
Unless you're Dean. Unless you're Dean. Well, hold on. No. Every single time we have like a strange format tournament.
Oh yeah, Dean wins all of them.
Dean always wins those.
Yeah, we have like this little list of like every strange event we've ever come up with weird formats, and like down the entire list is just Dean. First place, all of them. All of us are like, I don't even know what's going on. Come in with like Popper, Highlander, Dean. It's like, check out this broken deck I came up with. Oh man, but yeah. If you have like something consistently you play like every week or something, that's like a really good way to indicate whether you're like climbing, I guess, the ladder. And also, of course, how like do you feel like your play is very good? Because like I'll lose games, and I'm sure this is like for everyone here. Like you'll lose game, but you'll be like, I lost this game, but like the game felt really good because like you made a lot of really good plays, and you just kind of like maybe lost to the die roll this one time, or like you just made one mistake, and you're like, I learned from that mistake, but like everything else that game was really solid. And then you have Dean. Who just takes
maybe not Dean. Yeah.
One climax left in the deck. Let's do this salvage brainstorm. Hit 4. Okay, understandable.
Played a search brainstorm. No, joking.
Actually happened to me at a locals before. No, sorry, it was hit 3. It's really cool.
Man, I hate brainstorms, dude. Every time I'm winning a game, I'm like, there's no way my opponent can come back, and they hit like 4 on a brainstorm and refresh their deck, and I'm like, please kill me.
I'm saying I had a 1-card deck, salvage brainstorm, hit 3.
Yeah, very strong.
Yeah.
Oh man, and your refresh damage was in that climax too, right?
Yeah, it was
It
pretty
had to
cool. That was a good game. I only refreshed 5. Sorry, 1.
Look at it this way, Dean. At least you know when you fight against the new Aqua, you will never burn 2 because they'll
Yeah,
just keep
you're
milling
right.
your climaxes.
You're right. You're right, because they always are on the bottom.
And then
Game
you'll just
actually
die to
outplays
soul
that.
damage.
You just died in the big swings for 3 and 4. Oh man.
Oh man, that's crazy.
All right. I think we're gonna wrap this up here. Does anyone have any, or did you any of you see any questions in chat you guys want to answer? Otherwise, probably
Shoot, there
end
were
it
like
here.
a million of them, huh?
Probably. I mean, some of them we
most of
got in
them-
Discord as well. After I posted the Discord
Yeah.
link.
A lot of them got translated to Discord here.
Oh, okay.
What? Here's one.
What's up?
Or did you find one? Sorry.
Well, I saw one that says Riaz. Do you think it's feasible to sticking maybe 3? Oh, that's what.
Yeah. Some of these questions were in Discord as well.
Okay.
I found one here. What are your guys' thoughts on English versus Japanese Weiss in terms of competitiveness?
Oh well, if you're in the Western Hemisphere, or not Hemisphere, the Western side of the world, if you care about being super competitive, you play English. Like JP has like no circuit except for like this one event a year, and like it's
Winner take all.
only bad
Literally
players
winner
in
take all.
those events.
No, and it's funny because I only really play English because, if you care about being competitive in the West, you play English because that's what there's support for. And I guess despite not playing the format, I won nationals. That's a big think there. No, I'm just kidding.
A lot
But
of bad players
no.
JP, like us.
Yeah. But it's about what events are available, right? And
yeah. The payoff for playing in English is just like as a competitive player is there's just so much more. So it's worth more of your time and like monetary investment to like play English. But I mean, if you're looking for just to have fun all the time and like have like local fun, like I think JP is a lot of fun because you just have so much to choose from. There's so many wacky effects that you'll never get in English. Well, I guess nowadays they're like buffing it up all over the board. So.
It
But you have
keeps you
more
on your
variety,
toes.
right? So
Yeah.
you can at least enjoy. Like you can enjoy the card art, you can enjoy the set you enjoy and stuff in JP because there's more. Your set that you like might be in JP.
Yeah.
I think JP keeps you on your toes as a player too because you're playing around like ridiculous stuff. Yeah, like it
Well, I think
forces
so. Like
you to
half
do
the
more
time,
appropriate
like my
stuff.
things in JP, I'm like, shit. What does this deck even do? Do I need to play around this? Do I need to play around that? Like, does this set have stock swap? Does this set have anti-change counter? Like, what the fuck does this set even do?
Getting hit by that one random thing where you're just like, there's no way this set has X card. And then
Yeah.
they blam that card. You're like, God damn it. They got me again.
When Goblin Slayer just came out in JP, I didn't know what it did because I was too lazy to look at it yet. I leave my board open. I was like, there's no way he's going to get his level 3 Goblin Slayer. Ends up playing 2 torches and then bringing them back up to the front row, and he got double reversed, and I died off it. I was like, oh,
That's yikes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal.
The reason why is because the Goblin Slayer player I fought earlier that tournament, his torch is like milled 4, right? Like check top 4 or whatever, right? So I didn't know there was another torch because I didn't look at the set.
Yeah.
And I got punished for it. It's like, oh, I should have probably played my finish and tried to kill him.
I'm scanning here for more questions. A lot of them got put into Discord. I think pretty much all of them did.
Yeah.
Okay, I think if that's it, we can just cut it here, guys. I guess Riaz, you have any shout outs or anything? Any social media you want people to follow, your team or whatever?
As always, shout outs to Reality 6 for helping me all last year. And then shout outs to anyone who wants to join me on Final Fantasy 14. Please join me.
Shout out your server and stuff, man.
Oh,
How
yeah.
are they gonna find you without you actually?
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm on Aether Data Center, Fairy server. Come join me.
All right. Anything else? That's it. Any social media or anything like that? You have was it Reality Check? Is that what?
Yeah, I said that earlier though.
Reality
yeah.
6.
Reality 6. Yeah, I said that earlier before the whole Final Fantasy thing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, Carmen, you have some stuff coming up soon from people.
Yeah, we got we're working on the Bang Dream
You think
Volume 2 set review. We're working on that right now. And always deck techs every Friday. We're still keeping those up despite quarantine. So have to really dig into the depths there for some deck techs. I think we had like Vivid Strike, Monogatari. We're really getting down in there. So
Oh yeah, you had Monogatari this week. I was like, what? All right.
yeah.
Was that the deck you bought while you were in Japan?
No, that was one of Brian's lists. I had a run where I did too many of my decks because I did the Bar Gate for Summer Pockets because I really like that deck. But I wanted to feature other people's stuff, so trying to loop that back in.
All right. Dean, Nico, anything?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Check me out. I've been playing RuneScape.
Oh my God.
Been reaching out of RuneScape. Serio Tenon,
Oh my God.
the best RuneScape player.
Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, the data org is actually pretty good DLC, but I don't know if it's worth $30.
Also,
So if you like to fight hard bosses, give Square Enix $30. If not, don't give Square Enix $30.
I'm
Fuck
also now
Nomura.
the greatest Shadowverse player of all time. My first time ever being a Grandmaster.
Unlimited
Check me out
Grand.
there. Yeah, check me out in there. I'll kill you turn 5. The meta.
What a
Turn
fucking
5,
scrub.
not
You
turn
don't even
4?
kill them turn 4. What a
Turn
baddie.
4? No, I don't play that deck.
Oh man, are we gonna stream round 2? Did you make it into Group A yet for Cinderella?
No, I suck, dude. I
No,
was like,
Dean, you can't
like,
leave me. How did I get Group A and you didn't get Group?
Dude, I suck. I'm only unlimited. I'm washed.
I went back to Hearthstone. Shadowverse looks too dumb for me.
Oh, Shadowverse is dumb. You probably made the right move. Wait,
Nah,
we're
dude,
gonna...
you just get to play Demon Hunter every round.
Dina, we're gonna stream Shadowverse again. That was pretty funny.
We could. I don't know. Like a lot of players seem to not like it when you streamed it though.
What?
Like
Well,
your view count was bad.
screw them. Whatever. We're a pro Shadowverse team now, aren't we? Dude, we
need to
have
figure
our
out how to do
clan and
that.
I'm
everything.
still technically hovering at Master Rank, so we
It's
could be a
alright.
pro Shadowverse.
Don't worry, I'll make it to Masters if I ever spend enough time grinding in Ranked instead of being stuck forever in A because the grind is horrible. And then we can have a bunch of Grandmasters in our group. It'll be great. And then
I can't be Grandmaster again. That was terrible. That was absolutely terrible.
Dude, I remember that night, dude. I like leave. You're like 200 points away, and I come back from playing D&D like 5 hours later, and I'm like, "Dean, you Grandmaster yet?" And you're like, "No, I need 2,000 more points now."
Yeah. So I think
game.
Grandmaster came back to like Vice type talk though, right? Because like I had to have a net positive 100 games on my total win streak, which I got by maintaining a 55% win streak across like 500 games roughly. But it wasn't about like, you know, getting discouraged when I get like a 7 loss streak, though that actually did happen multiple times. But you know, like you don't like immediately like bail just because you had like a 4 or 5 loss streak. It's like you know that as long as you're winning like more than you're losing. Like sometimes you win 3 and then lose 2. But it's about like continuously grinding, right?
Yeah, I mean, like what we talked about this podcast. It's all about
Yeah.
that grind. But yeah, I think as far as Burn 1 goes, we're supposed to have a JoJo's thing if we ever get together and do it. Maybe we'll do it Sunday
Tonight.
or I don't know if I can.
Gotta play Pokemon Master
got
Trainer on
Pokemon Master
Tabletop.
Trainer after this, right?
Oh my God.
On
I'm
Tabletop
going back to
today.
Kingdom Hearts. Fuck you guys.
we're
You could-
gonna get that done.
Nico, you can probably play both. You could probably play both.
Is it that bad?
Oh yeah.
Holy
Pretty
shit.
bad.
We're gonna try to get that video out this week for sure. Dean, were you gonna ever do a million live deck tech on your deck? Or
I guess we haven't done one, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I thought we did, but then I was looking at all our past content. I was like, wait, he hasn't done it.
could do
Please.
people, I
That
guess,
deck is so sick.
Can people in the comments let me know? Do you want a physical? Like, do you want me to like use like my camera on my table, or would you rather see like Encore decks? Because I can do it either way, but it's like whichever one people prefers, which one I'll do. So just let me know, and then we'll do whichever one people say.
Okay. And
That
then,
deck is so sick. It needs more coverage.
Yep. And then I guess, man, yeah, it's so hard to get match. Maybe we should record some match videos on Tabletop Sim and do discussions about them. I don't know, but I'll somehow get like the motivation to do content again. Hopefully this week, but we'll for sure at least get out the JoJo's review and then maybe try to do some other reviews as well that we kind of slept on. But I think that is probably it. You might catch us randomly streaming Shadowverse this week or next week or something.
It's just hard to keep up Weiss stuff, right? Like,
yeah, there's no circuit going on, barely any news, everything's getting canceled, so it's tough to like, you know, be motivated all the time. And
it's kind of like hard to also have like to deck build too, right? Like,
yeah,
TTS is the only real way to play at the moment. So,
well, I think that is it. So I guess we'll see you all later. Oh wait, I gotta say this every time. I need more followers on Twitter so I can somehow get 2,000 more followers so I can beat my girlfriend's Twitter account. So
more followers than we have subscribers.
yeah, you guys. Yeah, I know. One day, I need everyone that has a Twitter account to go follow my really shitty Twitter account. I post card games like 1 in 10 tweets. The other 9 are usually just like anime related stuff or dumb other things. Follow that at KatoriJP. All right.
Very good art retweets.
Oh yeah,
I can vouch for that.
All right, but besides that, hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't think we have a special guest or anything going on next week, but if we do, I'll make sure to put up the announcement early so everyone can get alerts or whatever when it goes live. And Riaz, I thank you so much for joining us. This was like a really fun cast and everything. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, same. No problem. You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, when you win Worlds this year, since you'll be the only player qualified, we'll invite you back again.
Hell yeah.
Sounds good.
Oh man,
They're just gonna mail you a trophy.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. Oh man,
You'll be the only one with the PR cards too.
broken. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next podcast or next video, whenever we see you. Later, everyone.